Thursday night. What a show we got for you tonight. I'll tell you, the gaming news never ceases to amaze all of us. Isn't it fantastic, guys? Just enjoyed this week. Actually got some great gaming in over the weekend. Hope you guys did too. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the games that have come out here before we hit some of the big topics tonight. We got a great panel. You can see some of them are here. Some of them are still on the way. The Great Dark Optimus is on the way. Here he is. He's going to be joining us in a moment right about now. As well as we have, hopefully Nib will be able to join us. You know, it's 12 o'clock over there in England. He may have taken a nap. We're not sure. We've got people reaching out to Nib. My people, the Crossfire producers are reaching out to Nib's people. We'll see what happens. That being said, we'll wait and let everybody kind of trickle in here. Please do tweet it out. Let everybody know that we are here. Can't say repost. Doesn't sound as good. So tweet it out. Let everyone know that we're live here in New York, 7 o'clock. It's going to be a great show. And look at that fantastic description, by the way. I wrote that, got home from work. I said, let me give these guys a description that they'll never forget. That is an outstanding synopsis of what's going to happen tonight, guys. Right above that's the join button, the like button, the subscribe button. Go ahead and give Mooch a little love there and hit some of those buttons. I really appreciate it. That being said, I'm going to get to this outstanding panel right now. And I'm very excited because we got somebody joining us as well tonight that hasn't been on in a while. But you guys know him as the great Death Singer that's here with us. He's here every week with us, and his opinions are just phenomenal. Me and Death were going back and forth just before the show. Believe it or not, I got to say, the first topic, even though I'm going to have a counter, I don't necessarily disagree with him. The great Death Singer's back. Death Singer, how you doing tonight, buddy?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. I'm enjoying the annual Randy Pitchford crash out.
Yes.
That always happens. Happened with Borderlands 3, happened with the movie, and now it's happened with Borderlands 4. And this guy is, he should... delete his X account and actually go fix his game, and do something, because at the moment you're doing yourself no favors for your damn game. Please go fix your game. I played it. I refunded it. Shout out to Steam with your 2-hour no questions asked refund policy. Shout out to you. And I'll just pick it up on sale when it's finally fixed, because telling me you need to use frame gen to run your game, I will laugh in your face and tell you to piss off.
Yeah, Death Singer's not having it, folks, and I think the audience knows he wasn't going to have it. He said it last week. At least he gave it a shot, which is worthy of it. And we're going to get into we're going to start with the Borderlands update as soon as we get through the intros. But Death Singer, great to have you here. The great J-Dub City is back with us. Jay, outstanding to have you, buddy. I reached out to you a couple weeks ago. You said, listen, Mooch, I'm going to need a rain check on that. I said, that's not a problem. So I just moved it right over into the column of 2 Thursdays later. And here you are, buddy. Great to have you with us. And with all the news that's been going on and the rumor showcases and things that are showcase or state of play, whatever they're going to call it next week, a lot of stuff happening in the world of PlayStation. Couldn't do that without you go formerly known as Kratos, now J-Dub City. Jay, welcome back to the show, buddy. How you doing tonight?
Doing good. Welcome, everybody. We got a fire show tonight.
Yes, sir.
Everything's been great with me, man. Can't complain. No complaints. Ton of great games have dropped. So I've just been switching and doing my daily rotation between them all.
Yeah.
And we got more to come. Think about that.
Jay, that's the thing, man. And I'm kind of glad you bring that up. I'm gonna, even though it's gonna be a Borderlands update discussion real quick, we're only gonna spend 10 minutes on that, folks. Don't worry about it. I do want to talk about what Jay's saying. There's a lot of games that have dropped in the past 2 weeks, and there's a lot more coming out in the next 2 weeks. So I don't really know how much sand is in your hourglass, but it's going to defeat mine. Jay, great to have you with us. The great Mag is with us as well. Mag, being a huge football fan, I actually happen to be very good friends with Roger Goodell, and I asked him if he could just move the Buffalo game out about an hour and a half. So, Mag, no problem for you. You have the entire evening. Please make yourself at home here at Crossfire, as you always do. The great Mag is back with us, buddy. How you doing tonight?
Fantastic. Thank you so much for having me. Great panel. And of course, we got a great chat, great host. We got a lot of things to talk about in a very short period of time, because we got Buffalo's got to squish the fish tonight. However, gaming wise, boy, it's been busy, but boy, it's been fun.
Yes.
I just wrapped up my second playthrough of Chronos, the New Dawn. I released a review on that. Yeah. Oh, it's fantastic. However, I said, spoiler alert, I left it at a 7.5 out of 10, my final review.
Okay.
Left the review on my channel. I've been streaming Borderlands over the last day or so, showing gameplay on Chronos. Been having a lot of fun, man. I actually also replayed, for any PlayStation fans out there, you can get, no, not PlayStation fans, anybody. Jesus, what am I talking about? If you pre-order Little Nightmares 3, excuse me, if you pre-order Little Nightmares 3, they give you Little Nightmares 1, 4K remastered, whatever the hell you want to call it, for free. free of
Okay.
charge. So it's an instant download. And of course, Little Nightmares 3 is only going to be about what, like $40, whatever it's going to be. And so you get Little Nightmares 1. So I played through Little Nightmares 1 just to get reacquainted with it because
Yes.
I will be streaming Little Nightmares 3. That's going to be right at the same time as Battlefield 6 and everything else and Ghost of Yotei, whatever. We'll get into it tonight. Either way, we got a lot to talk about, and there's been a lot of gaming. It's been a good time to be a gamer. So
Mag, I'm right there with you on everything you said. And we will talk a little bit about Little Nightmares 3 if you bring that up again, because I do have an opinion on that, and I want to get your take on it. Shout out to the great Jimmy Harrison. He says, what's up, brothers? Jimmy, great to see you here. I see a couple other shout-outs real quick. Shout out to JC 2013. I see Neil Augusto. I see Ocelots out there, Young West. You guys are all fantastic. X-Hawk is here as well. Guys, it's going to be a great show. And you know why it's going to be a great show? Because this man is joining us. I got to be honest with you, and you guys know I am very persistent. Anybody that's been on this show before knows that I am quite persistent when I want to get a guest on the show. The great Dark Optimus is back on the show. I don't think he's been on a podcast in a minute. If he has, I don't know how I missed it. But he's back on Crossfire. Dark, we didn't even get a chance to do a sound check, but I'm just assuming you are Hollywood. You're Mr. Professional. I don't have to worry about you. Dark, how you been, buddy? Great to have you on the show.
Good, man. How are you?
Great. Now.
Okay. So do I sound good?
You sound great.
Okay, good. That's good. Yeah, man. It's been probably about a year,
at
year
least,
and a half since I've done a podcast, dude.
Get out of here! Has it been that long?
Yeah, it's been a minute. How does it feel to be back
with you? It didn't feel that long ago.
It's been that long. Yeah.
Holy man.
Yeah. But you know what I love more than Borderlands?
What's that?
Randy Pitchford freaking out. That's what I love more than Borderlands.
The Suge Knight of
I
gaming.
love that.
The Suge Knight of gaming.
He literally is the Suge Knight of gaming. The guy's a maniac. He belongs behind bars.
He definitely belongs behind bars for sure. Like, I swear, man, that guy's always freaking out. It's funny.
That's great to have you back, Dark. And we'll go right there. Shout out to Basement Radio Arcade Podcast. Brap, you guys know him as Coach Sports. He's out there again. Coach is out there again. Brap, I picture you always walking around with a whistle around you. That's all I ever picture now. That and a visor. I don't know what's going on out there. I think he's the Sean Payton of podcasting. I'm not sure what's going on, but Brap, we miss you on the show, buddy. Get back over here, will you?
No, it's fine. We're fine.
Oh, jeez, there it is. Well, listen.
Hi, Brap. Love you, buddy.
Let's start with this. So I'll go ahead, because I know Dessinger's going to go off. He is legitimately going to go off. But I just want to say, Borderlands 4 update real quick, guys. We'll spend 10 minutes on it, then we'll get to the topics. Because I kind of threw this in here. I didn't even tell the panel we were going to do this. Just real quick. Online excitement, you guys have to say, there's a lot of negatives we're going to talk about with this game. A lot of negatives. But we are going to say online excitement, I got to say, it's at an all-time kind of high here. People are loving the game. People that have been complaining about it in the media, then coming out and saying, by the way, still really enjoying this game. So, Meg, I'll start with you, and then we'll go right through, just to get everyone's opinion. I personally have played about 14 hours or so right now. I will say the game has crashed on me about 6 or 7 times. Haven't had an issue in the sense that the saves were there. Yeah. But I will say this. While I was playing with friends and even solo, I had a smile on my face when the game was running. Because it really was the epitome of Borderlands, which is just stupid fun, right? Just shoot things, look for better weapons, listen to some zany writing, a couple of like LOLs while you're playing the game with buddies, and it's just something where you can enjoy that time with friends while playing this game, and it's nonstop action. Mag, what's your take from, as the great Dessinger, I always quote Dessinger, Randy Pitchford will Randy Pitchford, right? So he did what he always does, but what do you think between Randy's comments, the game, the issues, but the fun you may or may not be having or seeing people have? What's your take on Borderlands real quick a week later?
Right. Well, I think I have about the same amount of hours as you. I did a 2.5, almost 3-hour stream last night, and what I did is I did stream it on YouTube, and then I left the channels open. I got a Chat Link Pro, so I'm like, listen, man, anybody want to come and jump in here? Even the party will go through Streamlabs, whatever. Nobody did. I mean, but I had a lot of players come in, but everybody was kind of gun shy to talk. I had people from all walks come in and play this game. I was playing on the PS5 Pro. I had another guy from my channel was on the PC, one guy on Xbox, another guy on the PS5. Not one issue in almost 3 hours. So now that's not really a litmus test for what's happening out there. I'm just saying in the 3 hours that I played with four on a foursome on essentially three different systems or 4 different systems, and we never had an issue. So, like I said, I had 2 guys on the PlayStation Network, one on the PC, one on the Xbox, and we had no hiccups, no anything. The other 11 hours, I played either solo or I played co-op with my wife. and we had no issues as well.
Well, this is great news.
The only thing I saw in any of the gameplay that I was playing is like near the beginning of the game when you first get into that open world and you unlock that first safe house, whatever it is, and you're kind of driving or walking around or whatever, and then you eventually get that car. The only thing I saw was a little bit of egregious pop in of like, let's say, shrubbery, bushes, trees, that kind of thing, like on a hillside or something like that. Other than that, I did not have any performance issues at all.
Okay.
I didn't have any crashes, nothing like that. And like I said, I streamed last night for almost 3 hours and not a hiccup. And so I don't know whether it was because I didn't play it at 12:01 a.m. when it launched, or you know what I mean? Because I didn't really get to it right away. It took me a few days to get to it. So performance-wise, I've had no issues. As for the game itself, it's exactly what I wanted. I'm a huge Borderlands fan. It's fun. It's exciting. It's addictive, as you would expect. It's like that Call of Duty dopamine hit that you get. Like, this is the constant repetitive gameplay loop, but it's so addictive that you can't stop playing it. And it's, even my wife, who's not a Borderlands fan, like she never really played Borderlands. She tinkered around with the first one for about an hour just to see what it was like. Yeah. And then we got this one. Anyways, I'm like, honey, I got to get offline here. So we're in two separate parts of the house. I get offline. I go upstairs. She's still playing by herself. So it's just like, because she wanted to get more and more and more and more. So it has that hook, right? So it's got it all there. Now they got to worry about the technical issues. Work that out. It'll be just fine. It's still going to sell 15 million copies. If you look at Borderlands 3, which was considered the quote-unquote the worst number in the series, which is Borderlands 3, that still sold 13 million copies. So at this rate, I think that even with a higher player count than when that game came out, I think we're still going to sit around 15 to 20 million copies by the end of it all. That includes sales, deep sales, whatever else. It's going to do incredibly well. Now, for last thing I'll say, for Randy Pitchford, there should be as no surprises to anyone. It's like you see a rattlesnake on the ground, you'll be like, well, every time I approach the rattlesnake, it tries to bite me. So when you approach it the 11th time and it bites you, you shouldn't be shocked. This is exactly the way he is. This is exactly the way he reacts to everything, every release, every time he's pestered about something, or they're like, hey, Randy, you need to fix this, that, and the other. Yeah. What he should do in a position that he's in is that he should shut his mouth. That's it. Yeah. And the thing is, if he doesn't have any superiors above him, at least at Gearbox, maybe the publisher should have a word and be like, hi, Randy, can you do me a favor? Can you just shut the F up for like a month and then you can come back online or whatever?
Put it in the contract. Put it in the contract. You can't say anything for the first 4 weeks. Yeah.
Stop talking, because at the same time, the problem is with these guys, well, they understand. But the thing is, and you know what, we don't have to get into what happened over the last weekend and what happened last week with accountability about how people represent the company. You know what I'm talking about? All the people that got fired and everything else, right? So the thing is, you still have accountability with your publisher. So at that point, the publisher has to come down and say, hey, Randy, come on, man. Can you cut the crap? Like,
so Meg,
this is gonna.
I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna take that volleyball and spike it here because it's interesting, and I'll ask Jay this. Jay, I want to ask you a question, J Dub, because Meg makes a point there with the whole should he speak about it? But when he's out there talking, I'm reading what he's writing. He's defending this game the same way we defend our kids, right? You know what I mean, Jay? It's like, what do you mean my kid can't play power forward? What do you mean by that? You know what I'm trying to say? So he's out there and he's doing this. So is there a fine line, Jay, between defending your baby, in this case his game and his team, versus the product that's out there? Because, I mean, at the end of the day, you got to remember something. No matter how much you admire it, we are paying $70 in certain cases for the deluxe edition, upwards of $120 or $130. Shout out to Destiny. Destiny will tell you, well, on CD Keys, you could have got it for $110. But I mean, Jay, what do you think? Where's the fine line there?
I'm going to be honest. Maybe my opinion will be opposite of everybody else's, but I like Randy Pitchford. I like what he's doing. Sometimes you need to tell gamers to shut the fuck up. Pardon my French. Stop complaining and whining about everything, because trust me, he sees you guys with all the other games that you bully everybody else around, and you complain about this, you can't complain about that, especially the PC dudes. And let's face it, 99% of them have shitty PCs. They do. It's just a fact, right? And so you got this big game coming, and I mean, let's face it, we've been having frame generation for 4 generations now. And everybody uses it. Just fucking get over it. It is what it is, and I don't know, but I like what Randy said. He's like, listen, you don't want the fucking game, don't buy it. Go fucking play. Go play your indies or some shit. This is the game that we made and we built, and we're okay with it. We're having fun. Everybody else have fun. Stop fucking complaining. Sometimes you need to tell the gamers to fucking stop complaining.
Yeah, so
sometimes we get to nitpick every little thing, and let's face it.
Yeah,
we aren't developers. We don't know what it takes to make a game. We don't know how difficult it is. We don't.
Yeah.
And I get it. It's our money. We also get to sit in our armchairs and tell every developer and everybody how to do X, Y, and Z. And when they do that, we don't fucking go and buy and support the game anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest with you. There is a little bit to what you're saying there, Jay. We don't know what it's like to make a game. A. B, the other thing about it really is more and more games are launching, which I would say are broken. This game's not broken. It does have some performance issues. Some people would probably argue with me and say, wait a minute now, I was getting down to 18 frames. I understand that. In that case, that's not playable. So I tip my cap to those folks. But my point is that for the most part, my game ran pretty damn smooth. It crashed about 5 or 6 times. Again, I'll say that.
Playing on Mooch?
And
playing on the PC?
PC, yeah. Well, because I'm double dipping. I want to get on PS5. I literally wait to see what's going on with the console reviews, and they're telling me that it was dipping pretty low. So I said, well, I'm going to wait. I'm not going to go pick it up and double dip now. I'll wait. I mean, if it's not going to, then I'm just going to stay on the one where I have steady frames. The frame rate I haven't had an issue with at all, but you are right. You have to do the frame gen there. I had DLSS on. You have to have, I did play it at 4K. And it seemed to run all right. I was having a good time with it. I'm kind of at a point where I'm a bit biased because I am a Borderlands fanboy, I guess, to a certain extent. I love it. I love the series. So I do understand where you're coming from. To just kind of split the uprights, we'll go to the Great Dark Optimist. And if you guys are ready for an opinion, I hope you guys got a drink ready and your seatbelt on. Go ahead, Jeff.
I want to say this real quick.
Go ahead.
I want to say this real quick. I'm not by any means saying go and support a broken game, right? A broken game is a broken game.
A broken game is yeah. A broken game was Cyberpunk when it launched, right? That was a broken game. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying we get on this podcast every week for years and years and years, and we nitpick any game. It doesn't matter what it is. We find the very little nuances about it, and we complain. And it's like, as gamers, sometimes, man, we need to just shut the fuck up and enjoy gaming. That's man. It there's something to that in a sense. I saw a lot of people, because a lot of people, the reason I kind of hear what Jay's saying, and I'm nodding my head agreeing here, is just because I saw a lot of people complaining online, and I'll address a lot of people in the chat have a lot to say about this, which I'll get to in a second. But to be honest with you, is I see a lot of people complaining about it, and then literally they're writing articles being like, had problems. This wasn't this. My frames weren't this. Whatever, performance wasn't up to snuff. At the same time, best Borderlands of all time. Loved every minute of it. I'm like, I'm reading this all within one article. It's all the same article. And I'm like, well, which is it? Should I believe the first paragraph or the last paragraph? So yeah, I'm kind of with you on that, Jay. I don't know what to say. You know what I mean? And you know what I'm talking about. So
yeah, that's how it is.
It is what it is, I guess. Dark, what do you think? How do you split the uprights on this? Because I will say this, Mag, Jay, and what Dessinger's going to say in a minute, because he's going to go off. But Dark, I don't necessarily think if you want to play this game, it's not broken to where you can't play it. It does have some frustrations about it. There's some workarounds on PC. There's no excusing here. $70 is $70. It's your money. So there's no wrong answer. But Dark, where are you? Because I didn't get a chance to talk to you about this beforehand. Did you get a chance to, are you a Borderlands guy? Do you have Borderlands 4? If not, why didn't you pick it up?
Bro, I'm a Borderlands fanatic.
That's what I thought, actually. But I didn't want to say you were. And then you were like, no.
So, like, when I heard Borderlands 4 was coming out, I was like, I gotta get that day one. And I did. And I played it. And I love it. And I've had a few issues. I've had one crash on my PS5 Pro. I've been playing on PS5 because I'm a peasant console gamer.
Oh.
And I'm loving it, dude. I'm loving the game. I mean, yeah, there are some times where it does stutter here and there, even in the quality and the performance mode. I mean, honestly, I don't really tell a difference between the quality or the performance mode because of the art style. I can't really tell the difference. Like, I could tell the difference in the frames, because the frames are more at a 30 solid 30 on the quality mode than they are on the performance mode. Like the performance mode kind of dips down to like 20 to like to like 15 sometimes.
That's rough.
But
that's rough.
Yeah, but for me personally, I'm loving the game. I have to agree with J-Dub on Randy Pitchford. Like the dude, how long have we known Randy Pitchford?
Quite a while.
Since we've been in gaming, since we've seen him make Borderlands. Like we've known him for a long time, so we know how he is. We know how he's gonna be when his games come out, or when a movie comes out that he, that wasn't very good, but we know how he is, so he's not gonna be. Why are people so surprised that he was gonna say what he was gonna say? Like we already know what he was gonna say. Like,
yeah, was it a shock?
When people said that they had performance issues and things like that, I was all like, Randy Pitchford's gonna come out and say some dumbass shit, and which he did. He always does.
Yeah,
which is funny. It makes it fun, and it makes me laugh. It doesn't bother me in the slightest what he says, because I'm still gonna play the game. I'm still gonna enjoy the game, and I think to touch on a little bit of what J-Dub was saying with the whole, we complain about these games, but then we don't buy them, and this happens on a constant basis. Like right now, I'm seeing people complaining about Ghost of Yote because of what one of the developers said about what's going on in the news right now. Everybody knows what I'm talking about, so don't be like, oh well, what is he talking about? You know what the fuck I'm talking about. You already know. And everybody's all like, I don't want to buy that game. I'm not buying it. I'm all like, I'm buying that shit, dude, day one. Like, I don't care what somebody else said. I don't give a crap.
Yeah.
Like, if I want a game, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna play it, and I'm gonna enjoy it. And that's the same thing with Borderlands. And I love that this game has taken what Borderlands 3 has done and what Borderlands 2 has done, and kind of combined it into this fun experience. And the loot has been amazing. Like, and then I've just been grinding this whole entire time, dude. Like,
what level are you at, Dark?
I'm at like level almost 20, I think. Yeah,
okay.
Right now I'm at 19, I think. I've been playing it for like 18 hours. I've just been doing side stuff, been exploring the world.
Same.
And I'm having a blast, man. And that's what it should be about, not about whatever.
That's it. To get to kind of the root of gaming again and having a good time with it. And it's the same thing. I think, like I said, you said you're 18 hours. Probably you said level 18, 19. I think I'm level 14 or 15, something like that. And I'm at, like I said, somewhere between that 12 and 14 hour. I don't sit there and clock it in. But my point being is that I do every single what do you call it? Exclamation mark side quest. I'm there. I've actually just taken time to go back and just like loot different areas and just check everything out in the world. And again, it really does come down to what do we all kind of get in the game for is the fun of it, right? This game for me is a ton of fun, right? It's that looter shooter, that vibe that I've been waiting for a very long time. And it was funny because I said on the show, as I will go to Death Singer next here, and asked Death Singer, I remember asking the panel, I said, do you think this game has any chance, Borderlands 4, of being a nominee, not a winner, but a nominee for a game of the year? And everyone was like, not Borderlands, no way. And now I saw some articles and people saying this could be a nominee. So Death Singer,
absolutely not.
Okay, well, there you go, everybody. That's it.
Absolutely not. The game is not good enough for that. If you look at the roster of games that have come out this year so far. Well, if you look just at the basic roster, like you have to throw Death Stranding in there, right? That's a lock. Then you have to throw in Donkey Kong Bonanza, right? So now you're 2. Then you have to throw Expedition 33. Now you're at 3. Then you're probably going to throw Kingdom Come in there. You're at 4. Then you're going to throw Silksong in there. That's 5. And now you have one more spot, and that's going to get taken up by Ghost of Yote. There we go. Job done. There's your 6. That's your Game of the Year nominees. Thank you very much. See you later.
Wow.
But the thing is, it's like, unfortunately, with stacked years, we saw last year. some games that should have been nominated didn't get nominated just because the year is so stacked. So obviously, you know, and obviously Borderlands it has its controversy, so that's probably going to go against it, because you look at most of those games, they didn't really have a controversy to them, but this does. Now, on to Randy and his dumbass self, telling people how to give advice. It's like, my guy, I'm able to play Cyberpunk 0.40p, high settings, 80 FPS, with path tracing. Right?
Right.
I picked up Borderlands 4, 1440p, max settings. Tell me why I'm getting below 60 FPS.
Yeah, I don't have a great answer for you.
Yeah,
but didn't it take Cyberpunk a while for them to get it to that point?
Yeah, but you have to understand, I'm running path tracing on Cyberpunk, right? This game,
I don't know. I don't play on PC.
So Borderlands 4 has no chance in graphic fidelity versus a Cyberpunk with path tracing, right? They're just not even in the same ballpark, because Cyberpunk just looks fucking gorgeous. But
two different art styles as well. So
they are two different art styles. But you're telling me you're a big open world, right? And I'm running at the same settings, similar settings, and my game is performing worse. Borderlands 4 does not look as good as this, so there is no reason.
True, but Cyberpunk had like 6-7 years to get it optimized and fixed and patched.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Cyberpunk wasn't like that day one. So we got to at least give them that.
But we can't let him off the hook, because it's like you not only do you release the game, not only do you have problems on console with the memory leak, like the PS5 version. Tons of articles. The memory leak is tanking the performance the longer you play. That shouldn't be. Like, the game is broken in some aspects, because on PC you have frame gen, you have DLSS, you can get around it. On console, you don't have frame gen, you don't have DLSS, you don't have these systems. So the longer you play, the worse your performance gets. That's very unfair on the console players. Now, on the PC side, with my graphics card power, your game, your job is to sell me the game, right? Now, if you're releasing a game that is doing this and then telling me, turn on frame gen, turn on DLSS, I shouldn't have to for your game because you didn't optimize your game. I'm having to do this because of you. I should not have to do this. But because of your choices, I am now forced to do this. So, of course, as most games that come out broken and then fix later, and you could blame Unreal Engine 5 for part of this.
Yeah.
It's not totally on Randy. It's not totally on them. I can't put it all on them because they're using this dog shit engine for whatever reason. And it's just people are playing it, but people are like, I don't want to have to deal with this, and that's why I refunded it, and I will play it on sale because I want to love this game, because from what I'm hearing, it's exactly what I wanted, because Borderlands 3 was a disappointment. To me personally, it was like that garbage-ass villain you had in Borderlands 3 was not it. So Borderlands 4 looks like, they get into it. Well, yeah, villains, but either way, garbage, forgettable game. But this game looks like it's on the right track from what I've heard, the story, the villains, everything. I want to love the game, but your performance and you not optimizing your game is preventing me from loving your game. So it's going to be what it's going to be. I'll stand on that. And yeah, Brandy, just get off X, get off Twitter, and just fix your game, please. Just stop tweeting. You don't need to tweet anymore, because all you're doing is having arguments with people that don't care. Yeah,
the arguing online.
He's probably on X and fixing the game at the same time.
he might be.
knowing Randy, he's probably doing it all at the same time.
Shout out to Art Vandalay. Says Borderlands over Silksong. Oh, that'll get something started. Shout out to Blaze here too. Shout out to Blaze 4K. He says Borderlands is great and it looks good to me. Shout out to Blaze. Great to have Blaze here in the chat. Yeah, I don't know. I think when it comes down to it, that I think each of you made some really good points. I think we'll keep an eye on this. Desinger, I don't blame you one bit for the return there on that. I think that's totally within your rights, and I think that you mentioned it last week. You said I'll give it a shot. It's not good. I'm going to return it. I do think that what's amazing about Borderlands that I've always found is when the game comes out, yes, you have all this stuff that you're seeing online and people's opinions and this and that, but there's such a huge community. Every time I get on, there's 2 or 3 people that are jumping into my game or inviting me, and it's that hotness right now. You go play Borderlands, like, let's say this time next year, Death Singer, and take it from me. I've had a couple people where I'm like, hey, you know what, before Borderlands 4 comes out, anybody want to run 2 or 3? And they're like, I got a backlog, and I got this, and a new game I want's coming out next week. It's hard to get into it, so it's not, by the way, no FOMO here. Just saying it is fun to actually jump into it when the community is kind of thriving on it right now and enjoying it. Yes, everyone has their complaints while we're playing, but the end result is always, I'm absolutely loving this. I can't wait to get back into it. So I just wanted to give a quick update on that. We don't have to get too far into it. Shout out to Babor Country. The show can start now. Babor is here. Thank you. He says, people need bad Silksong are going to be opinionated, sophisticated critics. When Yote releases Path Trace, Cyberpunk looks worse compared to Death Stranding 2. Shout out to Babor. Always out there with some great opinions. I do appreciate the super chat, buddy.
That's true.
You know? Death Stranding 2 was it really is a beautiful game. It's hard. We already gave that its flowers last week with Wooly on the show, so we don't have to go through that again. But Mag, while we have the great Mag here, and guys, we can always come back to this if you want. Mag, let's talk about this. So Sony removes the multi-format revenue from their strategic indicators. I just want to know from you, what do you think from what you're hearing, from what you're reading, what effect will this have on the game development and PlayStation's future moving forward? That's a big change from what we were hearing earlier, and there's kind of a part 2 to it as well. Basically, PlayStation first-party studios advancing their position as, in quotes, creative leaders in single-player experiences. These are 2 shifts that we're seeing from the wording years back. What do you think, Mag? Is this, are we, the community, reading too much into this, or is PlayStation, in your opinion, making a shift maybe to what their original goals were when they made first-player games and didn't worry so much about the multiplayer space?
There was no shift. And I've stood firm on this from the beginning. And even when I do my show with Colt and I have a long-standing bet right now as we go back and forth. And I'm like, they're not doing what you think they're going to do. When we had talks about the third-party stuff and this and that, I said the only way that you, for example, I'm not going to get into that whole conversation because that's not the question you asked. However, I just want to use it.
That's all right. Go ahead. Use it as context. Sure.
Yes, just as a little bit of context here, and what I was going to say is, I said the only way that you're going to get access, for example, let's say on an Xbox, as I put gigantic quotations on it, whether it's this under the TV PC thing that's that's a Xbox, but basically it's a PC. You're going to have access to the Steam market, to the Windows Store, and whatever else. That is where you're going to get your PlayStation games. So, for example, that should be no surprise. It's starting with the ROG Ally X,
right,
in a month or so or whatever, and that is going to be your access moving forward. So, yes, you will be able to play Spider-Man 2. You will be able to play whatever, God of War, Ragnarok. You will be able to do that, but it has to have the access to the PC or be able to sideload the PC. As for making a development specifically for Xbox, never going to happen. It's just going to be for the PC only. Hence why even Xbox is changing. Eventually, they're not going to be developing for an Xbox console. It's going to be streamlined PC across the board. And that's going to be the strategy for both companies moving forward when it comes to expanding beyond the hardware. Now, as for PlayStation, their plans have never changed. I'm not going to get into it because people are just like, oh, I'm full of shit or whatever. I did speak to someone at PlayStation. I remember the stuff about Insomniac. I said 2 months ago, by the way, that the Venom game is real, and they did switch around the release dates because it turns out the Wolverine development was actually moving along better than they had anticipated. So they put Wolverine first. They're moving out Venom a little bit later on as to work on new tech that's going to be utilized also in Spider-Man 3 for PlayStation 6. Now, that being said, sorry, that was a big mouthful there. There is no change in strategy for PlayStation. Their strategy is going to remain the same. It's going to remain the same for PlayStation 6. What they're going to do is continue to make single player or even co-op adventures, whatever they're going to do, they're going to continue to do that moving forward in order to sell the hardware. Because as it stands right now, and I believe as it's going to continue to stand into the next generation, whether I'm right or wrong, but I think that I'm right in this respect, is that the only access right now and in the near future, the only access to the PlayStation Store is through the console. So when I see people arguing online and fighting and this and that, saying, oh, it's just a piece of plastic, and I'm like, you guys don't see the forest through the trees. It's not the plastic that PlayStation cares about or Sony cares about. It's the fact that that is the access to the store. Because at the end of the day, I've said it here a million times. I've said it everywhere else a million times. They don't give a shit about what it is you're doing. They just want you to have access to the store.
Yep.
That is what it all boils down to. So you want to buy that Cardi B skin with her in a thong and an M4 carbine for Call of Duty 7 or Call of Duty 8, whatever, Black Ops 8? Well, you're going to get it there. You're going to buy it on PlayStation because you're already at the store. You want to buy that? You want to buy Beavis and Butthead? You're going to buy it on the PlayStation Store. They get their percentage, and that's where they make their billions of dollars. Okay, it's not from selling, a couple of, a million copies of this or a little bit of that or whatever. A lot of it is microtransactions that build up over time. Fortnite. The big one is Roblox. All those ones. Call of Duty. I don't have to list off all the games.
Mm-hmm.
The point is that, and it's never changed. They don't hinge the business on the sales of first-party games. Those sales help fund other games moving forward. What that is that is fuel to get people into the storefront, to buy the hardware, get them into the storefront. So, and that is never going to change. So, for example, you're coming up on 100, well, what is it, 80, 85 million, 90 million consoles sold, whatever the hell it is. And by the time Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out, it'll be 115, 120, maybe even 130. Who knows? Because it's not going to be available on the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One.
Right.
So people who are going to be forced to buy that, play that, or want to play that, they're going to be forced to buy current gen hardware. But what I'm trying to get at is that the strategy was never shifted. It never changed. The only people who've done that are the people with online discourse. They're like with their own theories and own thoughts, and it's fair to have those thoughts. And no one's saying you're right or no one's saying you're wrong. You're fair and free to feel and say whatever you think is going to happen in the future or how this business is going to run. But I am absolutely telling you there is no change in the strategy. That's all I'm trying to say. So there is no shift. This will continue. You've never heard? Have you heard them? Let me ask you a question. Have you heard them officially say, we're putting games over here, or we're switching our strategy, or this and that? Not really.
No.
What ended up happening is there are a lot of vague statements put out there and then have been turned, twisted, changed, and manipulated into something different, which I never believed from day one.
Yeah.
And when I spoke to someone about it, they literally laughed. They said, not a chance in hell is that happening. So there it is. So there is no change in strategy, long story longer. It's going to continue to do that because that is their avenue for their success for the future, is being able to access the PlayStation Store. You cannot access the PlayStation Store on Steam. You cannot access it on the Windows Store. You only one place. And that's why it's so important for them to have first-party whether it's single player or not or whatever, they're going to remain exclusive, and they're going to do that, and they're going to continue to make single player games and everything else. I know there will be games out there that will remain multi-platform. I can guarantee you this. I know they own the Helldivers IP. A Helldivers 3 or whatever the hell is going to when they do a Helldivers 3 next generation, 100% it'll be everywhere. Why? Because it benefits them in the end.
Right.
That is not an indication that God of War Egypt is going to be, you know what I mean? It's going to be everywhere. It's not. Because they still want you to buy that hardware to access that store.
I think that's very clear. And of course, like you say, people take the words. And the one thing I'll blame the companies, okay, is the vague statements that you said, Meg. I still have no idea. I guess it's maybe they're covering their backside. I don't know what's going on here. I don't understand why they say what they say, and they can't just come out and be very clear and concise.
But you know what? Hold on, Mooch, before you carry on. You know why they don't say anything? Because I really actually don't think that they owe anybody an explanation. Because there is a sense of it. I understand. J-Dub kind of touched on a little bit when he was talking a little earlier about the Borderlands and how gamers are and whatever else. There certainly is a sense of entitlement in this community where they feel like, why aren't you telling me everything you're doing for the next 9 years? Who the frig are you? And
do they even know? I mean, maybe they might have a plan.
No, Mooch, they know.
They
100%
know.
They know.
Okay.
Like even Microsoft, they've got a 20-year plan. They have they're doing into the 2040s.
They have a 20-year. They have a 20-year plan, Mag. But if I may remind you, okay, they pivoted in 2014. Okay,
it's a projection.
Right from 2013,
right.
And they had a 10-year plan for Halo Infinite. To 10 months. So I want to just say that when it comes down to it, Brap, are you at the 50-yard line?
Holy shit! The guy shows up.
Brap, are you
fun of him? Yeah, and he shows up like Batman.
Right?
I'm at the 25-yard line right now.
He's moving the chains, guys, for the first down.
I'm moving the chains.
I think I think Brap is in the concussion booth right now.
He might be in the blue booth. He might be in the blue
How many
booth.
fingers am I holding up?
No, I'm not in the concussion booth.
Well, Brap, I know we probably
Hopefully you guys can.
we can hear you. You're loud and clear. Real quick, Brap,
Okay.
because I know this is something you were sounding off on. I don't know how long you can stay for. Sony removes the multi-format revenue from their strategic indicators, and you've been talking about this kind of stuff for a long time. When those charts came out, shout out to Nib. Nib's probably falling asleep because it's 12, almost 1 o'clock in the morning over there. But when we looked at the charts and we saw that it wasn't maybe moving in the percentages that Sony wanted to see, they've removed that. So is that part of their strategy? You heard what Mag said. Mag said it really was part of it in the first place. What do you think, Brap?
Yeah, I don't disagree with Mag. I still think it's part of their strategy, but I don't think it's a. I get the sense that, in my opinion at least, that it's not a. They're not looking at it as a strategic area of revenue growth for them anymore. Like maybe like the way they used to.
Right.
It's still a thing they're gonna dabble in, but to me it sounds like okay, we're gonna double down on the ecosystem and really focus on engagement. Retention, getting people to spend money in the ecosystem. I keep telling people, the people that are out here saying, "Oh, exclusives don't matter," and Sony's doesn't have any more exclusive. They're going third party. No, they're not. I mean, Mag mentioned live service games. Yeah, those games make sense because you can actually, with live service games, you can actually release them on other platforms and continue to make reoccurring revenue off of them without having someone inside the ecosystem. You can't do that for single player games. Single player games are solely made to drive people to the ecosystem. I think Matt said the storefront. Drive people to the storefront.
Yeah.
That's look, people don't realize this. The battle is really about the storefront. If you think about Microsoft's strategy, like I think they've moved past Sony. Like, hey, we lost that battle. We need to tend to our backyard because there's a weed growing out in the backyard called Steam OS, and so it's a lot of people and who are running wild and saying that they're going multi-plat. I thought a lot of that was very disingenuous. I thought it was a manufactured narrative. Probably heard me talk about that on Brap a lot. It goes live every Wednesday night, 9 p.m.
Great plug.
Thank you. And I'm trying. I know I'm going to get pulled here in a minute, but no, it's interesting because it just shows me that they're doubling down on the PlayStation ecosystem. They have a box. They have software that you can't get anywhere else. They want you to experience that software on a PlayStation 5 Pro, or I say PlayStation 5 Pro because I have one, but on a PlayStation 5 or whatever the next PlayStation 6, whatever the case is. So again, I don't think they're going to be bringing. I think I heard Mag say that he spoke to someone and the person laughed at the idea of tentpole franchises, coming
With
to
someone from Insomniac.
Oh, Insomniac. Yeah, I mean, there you go. I mean, you have somebody at Insomniac laughing. I mean, again, those things hold value to consumers. I mean, I don't know why we have this argument that exclusives don't matter. We don't say that about any other industry, any other consumer product, but for gaming, we do, and we treat gaming differently. Like gaming's not impacted by consumer economics or the law of economics, and it's the same thing. I mean, it's a ridiculous argument. So they're doubling down. You didn't look at Nintendo. Nintendo's really doubling down. Hell, Nintendo's doubling down so much they're going back to a failed peripheral in the Virtual Boy.
Yep.
That thing sold terribly when it came out. And not only are they going back to it, but they're offering a cardboard version of it. But that's right. But that's because Nintendo understands the value in the marketplace of the Nintendo brand and the exclusives, and that they certainly have a subset of consumer. Again, this is very Apple-esque.
It is.
Sony's doing the same thing. Very Apple-esque.
You know what though, Brap? It's about like everybody else. I don't want to hijack what you're saying here, but like I've said it here on this very show. When you're sitting down, when they spend $50 to $100 million to do, Dexter Resurrection on Paramount Plus, and it's sponsored by Amazon. You want to watch Reacher season 3, sponsored by Amazon. Well, while you're sitting there watching, and you're like, why do they bother making all these shows that they want us on here? Because they're not really making money off of it. Because like I said before, the next time you get a hole in your sock, you're already subscribed to Amazon Prime. So you're going to order your socks from Amazon Prime. The website's right there. It's on your phone. Click, boom, they're on your doorstep the next day. It's got nothing to do with all of those things. You could look at, like, for example, Reacher is God of War. Okay.
Yeah.
You can look at Dexter Resurrection as The Last of Us or whatever. I'm just making up like whatever. And what
Sure.
that does is that it drives you to their system. Yellowstone, anything else. Paramount Plus, like I said, it's a subsidiary of Amazon. And as a result of these things, that's why they do it. Because in the end, just like a casino, even though you think you're up, at the end of it, what did Robert De Niro say? In the end, we get it all.
We get it back,
So it
right?
funnels down, and it all funnels down where? Right to the store.
That's
All
right.
it is. It's just an elaborate plan to get you all into the store.
You know, and it's funny because Brap, you said something. I want to ask I want to ask J-Dub because what you said. I wonder if it kind of gets.
Well, Mooch.
Oh, go ahead, Brap.
Yeah, real quick. Can I? Because I gotta go here in like a minute.
Oh, go ahead, buddy. Go ahead.
And then I'm gonna try to jump back on, but yeah, no, I agree with what Mac's saying. I think that's the part that a lot of people miss, and so what a lot of people understand, they keep saying, "Oh, well, you're leaving money on the table." Yeah, in the short term you are, but in the long term, it doesn't benefit Sony to do that because now the person that's buying that one-off, let's say they release God of War on Xbox, that's just a one-off sale. There's just not a lot of value in that customer for Sony because that customer is never going to go inside the Sony ecosystem and spend $70+ They're not going to go buy another game, a third-party release from the digital storefront where Sony gets a 30% cut, or they're not going to go out and buy the next Pulse Audio 3D headsets, or they're not going to go out and buy another DualSense Edge because they're outside the ecosystem. And that's the part that people miss. The other thing that people conflate when Sony talks about multi-platform releases, they're just not talking about releasing IP, and this is something Ampere Analyst talked about. I encourage everyone to Google Ampere Analyst and Fireside Chat, the Sony Fireside Chat that happened this past summer. Ampere talked about what came out of that. One of the things that came out of that was that Sony is asking their game studios, to leverage their IP across different media, like television, movies, right? So that when they talk about multi-platforms, they're actually talking about releasing content, leveraging those IPs into movies and television shows, because that also drives revenue. The other thing people don't realize is that first-party studios aren't solely funded by the amount of units they sell at retail.
Right.
They're funded by, I think Mag brought this up, and this was a great point. Everything that they sell inside the ecosystem, the merch. Remember Spaceballs? Who watched Spaceballs?
Of course, I've seen it.
Spaceballs, the toilet paper. There you go.
Yeah, remember what Yogurt said? It's all in the merch. That's where you make the money.
Where do you think Lucas made his billions from Star Wars? He didn't make it from the box office. That money went right back into the studio to build Skywalker Ranch and Industrial Light and Sound. All the money that he made was from the Kenner toys. And he had the sole rights to it because they laughed in his face saying, "You're not going to sell dolls or toys or whatever." And he made billions. And so that's exactly what it is. Microsoft, on the other hand, Microsoft does something a little bit different. What they've done is that what they're trying to, as I told Mooch right before the show, I got a new PC. I'm PC Magster race now. So anyways, I got the PC, and what do? Microsoft has hijacked this PC. Every time when I turn it on, do you want this? Do you want Microsoft 365? If you want Microsoft Word, no longer free. You got to buy, got to do this. Yep. It's on the umbrella of 365. And so they've done the same thing. So Microsoft has gone in a different avenue. Like in the gaming division, it's not about single player game console exclusive games anymore. What they're doing is they're doing the same thing, and they're trying to funnel you to their store, but they're doing it through accessibility, so that every bloody item that you turn on in your house, Microsoft basically runs it. Right?
Well, think about it. Sony's trying to get the box into the house. Microsoft probably had a meeting about 10, 12 years ago. Wait a minute, we already have a box in everyone's house. It's a PC, right? They already have that. So
they're working on the accessibility part. Same thing with their gaming.
Right.
And same thing with everything else. So they're basically playing the same game, but they're playing in different directions. Right. So but the end goal is the same. It's all about funneling everybody to that, the accessibility of funneling them to their storefront. And that's how, like I said, Microsoft does it different. Sony, listen, the Japanese are very, very risk averse when it comes to their business. And they like things the way they are if they work, right? If it ain't broke, you don't fix it. I know it's an American saying, but the Japanese definitely live by that. Mm-hmm. They're very risk averse. And like I said, they got something that works, they will continue to do so. And what they will do is just continue to improve on top of something that already works instead of drastically changing a business plan. Mm-hmm. As you can clearly see, Nintendo and Sony have been doing this for 40 and 50 years respectively, and their business models have very, very minutely changed.
Yeah. Yep. Now, so Jay, real quick, I wanted to get your take on this. Mm-hmm. And I got to scroll up here a bit. Shout out to Blessed Red. Yeah. He said, "Isn't Sony is multi-plat already? He goes, is Steam not a platform? So shout out to Blessed Red, but not just saying to Blessed, because a lot of people say that, but like we always say on the show, can't speak in absolutes. Sony being on other platforms right now, but it's not traditional third party, right? When you say traditional multi-plat third party, Microsoft right now is making every game they have coming out for PlayStation 5. We saw it at the Xbox event this summer. And it's also on Steam, and it's all the games. And they're even putting older games on there. That's when you've decided to go full third party, right? EA, you have Ubisoft, now Xbox. PlayStation's doing that to a certain extent, but at the same time, Jay, they're not in the sense that, like, let's take Ratchet and Clank, right? Are all their games on PC? I don't believe so. I mean, Detzinger can go ahead and check me on that. But there's a lot of games that PlayStation has that's not on PC right now. So are they traditional third party?
Well, Mooch, people are going to justify and say what it is they want to fit whatever narrative they want.
Absolutely.
Historically, PC has never been competition to consoles, right? It's a total different market, total different everything else. But because of the great console war, and because Xbox basically being almost non-existent, and because Microsoft bought a bunch of huge third-party publishers and decided to compete with EA and Ubisoft and all of those other big third-party publishers and stuff like that, I think that's why this conversation is even needed. I don't think, and I agree with what he said earlier about, I don't think Sony pivoting at all. I just think the misconception and what a lot of people in the gaming sphere wanted. They want Sony to copy Microsoft and to do what they're doing so they can have some sense of solace knowing that Sony did it too. It's like, I mean, we all know. We know what it is, right? And it's like nobody want to say it. We know what it is. One side got defeated or whatever, if you're going to say that, got defeated or went down an avenue that they didn't want Microsoft to go to, and now they want Sony to join in that, and everybody seemed kumbaya, but it is what it is. Listen, I'll be honest. If it's not for Sony's first party games, I still believe that's the reason you go out and buy a console. I still believe it's the traditional route. It's the reason people will go there. If the games are just any and everywhere, what's the purpose of it?
Yeah.
I'm not. It's been like that since the beginning. We had Sega versus Nintendo, and they're fighting. That was when competition was great. That's when gamers win, right? We wouldn't have $80 and $90 games out there if there was competition in a certain market. And so, we gotta just be careful how we try to parade some of the stuff, because these corporations can just get greedy and all, if they all get together and do something, and that's bad for us. But I still think Sony is in the traditional route. They're still going to make their exclusives. Of course, they already said where it sees fit, and they've been saying this for years and years and years. They will move some of their games where it sees fit over to other platforms, PC or whatever, and they are trying to leverage their IP for movies, TV shows, and they consider that other platforms, right? That doesn't mean necessarily, that doesn't mean Xbox, but other platforms, whether it's music, movies, anime, TV shows, any and everything. I mean, they're even making cars with the built-in PS5s,
Right. Well,
but, I think it's really just a fanboy talking point, wanting to nitpick every saying, every translation of every meeting, and making it to fit the narrative that they want. That's basically how we ended up here.
And Jay, I'm gonna write this down because I have a follow-up question for that. But go ahead, Death Singer. I was gonna also welcome the great creative Kofi joined us as well. Kofi, great to have you on the show, buddy. And I'll, Dessinger, you can go ahead and add your comments, and then I want to hear Kofi, and I want to get Dark in here too. You got a situation where it says creative leaders and single player experiences. Dessinger, it sounds like there may be, and Max saying it's not a pivot. I'm using the word pivot because it's just the wording has changed. It sounds like they're going to kind of focus back in on what gave them their strength in the first place.
They're still going to do the multiplayer thing because
Yes.
they need
Well,
their own cash cow.
but will the numbers
that's
drop?
for that live service.
Live
Yeah,
service, yes.
yes.
They're still going to do that. But fundamentally, they're not traditional third party, but they are by definition multi-platform third party because their games and to be a third party, you can't be directly involved. Well, their games on Steam, they're not directly involved.
Right.
They're like, okay, here's your stuff, right? So they're third party in that respect. And then multi-platform is, well, it's hard if you talk hardware. PC is hardware, so therefore it's on another system. So therefore it is by definition. Now they're not traditional, they're not an EA, they're not a Ubisoft, they're not a From Software. They still do their own thing in their own lane, but they also alongside that they are those things. So you could call them those things, but they're not traditional. But in regards to them for refocusing on single player, well, that's what they've been doing. That's not a pivot. PlayStation has always prioritized its first party games. Look at the PS4. Look at the PS3. What brought PS3 back from the brink of destruction was their first party.
That's right.
Of The Last of Us. Except, because third party on the PS3 weren't able to work with it. And you always had the shittier version, shout out to Skyrim, when Skyrim released. The 360 version was great. The PS3 version wasn't. So you had all these things, and then they cracked. We need to work on ourselves. So naturally, this is just their natural progression. There's no pivot from PlayStation, but they did pivot in. Thing is, you can't say absolutes because back in 2019 or 2018. If I told you God of War, Horizon, and The Last of Us will be on PC, I guarantee you people would have told me I'm so full of shit. But all of a sudden, here we are in 2025. Right. So you can't say for definite or predict anything these corporations are going to do.
The thing is,
they're going to do what they're going to do.
First of all, I think what you said, a lot of that, I really do agree with you. My only thing is what Mag was saying a moment ago when he was talking about the consoles that are going to blow up next year when you have GTA 6. The fact of the matter is, we all know that GTA 6 is going to be on PC, right? But that's not going to stop a lot of people from going out and grabbing a console next year because they're not going to want to wait the 12, 18 months, 24 months, whatever it is. They're not going to wait that long. So to say that Sony's strategy of, what I've also been saying this since they started it is the double dip, which is wait that 12 to 18 months. And then you put that single player out on PC. Again, I understand you are a different consumer than me, Detsinger. You will wait, and that's fine. That conversation, that debate, we've had a million times. But I'm not going to wait. And I know you're waiting to see the specs. You're waiting to see the specs, rightfully so. But I think if you see the specs that make you even remotely excited for GTA 6, you're going to go out and get a PS5 Pro next year at some point in time, I believe.
Here's the thing, though. That's Rockstar doing that. That's not PlayStation. Rockstar is deciding to put out the console version first, then the PC version after. Because they've done that before.
I wasn't confusing.
That decision is made by the install base, though. That their decision is saying, "Hey, we're going to put our games where the largest install base is because we're going to prioritize that."
They want the priority of developing for the console first, then you can optimize the PC version after. So I understand that because if you look at Red Dead 2. I believe it was you work on the console version, you push it out, and it's going to sell like gangbusters. Then a year later, that shit will drop on PC, and it'll sell like gangbusters anyway. So, I mean, GTA 6 will probably outsell GTA 5 when all said and done, if I was to guess.
I agree.
But the thing is, it's a lot of people will have a PC and they'll get a console to play GTA 6. But
Absolutely.
what you'll probably find is, once it drops on PC, they're going to retire straight away from the console and just go back to their primary platform. So it's going to have people come over and buy a console, but I don't think it's going to make people stick around.
I don't know. I don't know. And I'm going to tell you it is. For all of those PC gamers that go out and buy a PS5 Pro for GTA 6, right? While they're there, they're going to try other things and they're going to realize, hey, while I'm sitting over here with my 2060 Ti or my 1080, my 1060 Ti. Hey, this PS5 Pro, goddamn, it's running these games at 4K 120, 4K 60. It's running it well. Like it's running it better than my PC, and I think that is going to open them up to the PS6 going in the future. So you gotta think about that.
And let me
not everybody has a 5090 or 5080.
No,
that's a great
less than a percentage of a percentage.
Kofi, let's get Kofi. Kofi, what do you think about this? I mean, the whole thing from where we're going with it, and then you also have what is it, FSR 4 PS? People are saying PSSR 2.0 for next year. This was probably strategic to launch with GTA 6. I mean, this is probably all part of the plan.
Yeah. Well, I've been spending more time than usual with the PC gaming community because of some games that are only available on Steam. Just to give an example, there's a roguelike that just came out called The Shape of Dreams. It kind of plays like a top-down style like Diablo, and that's kind of gripped me. But when I talk with people in the PC gaming community and they say something that they are always watching on PlayStation is really affordable games, right? The sales on Steam are just unmatched. When something goes on sale on Steam, you're like, it's only $7. It's only $12. And I think that if somebody were to buy GTA 6 and they were to be drawn into other games, to J-Dub's point, it's going to be things in the PlayStation Plus catalog, which I think are pretty compelling. They've got some great classics that have been added there, like Twisted Metal, like was it Legacy of Kain? And then there's all these other franchises that they may have not seen. I had a good friend that had, for some reason, never bought Tsushima anywhere else until he tried it on PlayStation Plus. And it was like, oh. And then when does Yote come out? Oh, Yote's out. This was a month ago, but he was like, oh, it's out in 2 months? Well, shoot now. So he was borrowing somebody's PlayStation 5, and now he wants to buy himself a Pro, even though he's a PC gamer. And I think, the argument that if they are already subscribers to PlayStation Plus, they might try a couple of games that are on the lowest tier. And then they're like, well, I could just pay a little bit more and get most of the first party games that I've ever been interested in, all in that kind of package. Even though, we don't, personally, I don't love the idea of a subscription for games. Like I'm not huge into Game Pass. I think that could be lucrative. Just because there's still IPs that have not migrated. So,
to Kofi's point, I will say he does be fantastic point, because a lot of people I play in the Discord with, they have a Nintendo, they have a PlayStation, right? They have an Xbox, right? They have all the consoles, but when you ask them, it's like, what you do on your PlayStation? Well, I play the single player games, and then anything to do with multiplayer, I just play on PC. Because you'd be a fool if you have a superior PC. Why would you play any multiplayer games on the console when you can have a better experience? So I think there are a lot of people like that, and I think there are a lot of people who will buy GTA 6. They'll play it. Obviously, you'll need to get PS Plus because that's going to be a requirement.
Yep.
But then it's like, I could see some people sticking around, but I could see them sticking around for that exact reason. For the single-player, first-party experiences that come day one to the console, you'll stick around for them. But if it comes to Call of Duty or something like that, you're playing that shit on PC. So you get the best of both worlds.
But my retort is, there's a such thing, and this is what I'm trying to get you to understand. With gamers, there's a point. There's a such thing is good enough. You don't have to have 240 frames. You don't have to have 500 frames. Some of these guys on PC, when they turn the settings off, because you even said it one time before, one of the games, you turn it down to 720p so you can see the jagged edges so you can get an advantage. Sometimes with a lot of these PC gamers, especially if they don't have a powerful rig, they're going to get that Pro or that PS5, and it's going to be good enough for them where they will stick around. If all they play is Marvel Rivals, they're going to get to play it at 120. They're going to get, and that 120 is good enough for them, right? In a lot of other games, 60 frames or 4K or whatever, that's good enough for them. GTA, no matter what it comes out, it's, 4K, as long as they hit 60 or something like that, that's going to be good enough for them. And you just might be surprised at how many people will be like, hey, this is better than I thought. This is, hey, like, I've been spending all this money upgrading to stay on PC or whatever, and it's so much money. I bought this. I get to play GTA 6. I get to play Intergalactic, and I get to play Ghost of Yotai and all these other games that I missed out on. Like, man, this is this is made. Again, I'm not saying it's going to happen to everyone, but that's a compelling argument for the console side. I do believe that we've reached a point where the bulk of people are okay with the performance that they're getting.
That's a great question. So that's a great question. And I'm going to go to Dark here because I want to hear his opinion. But Detzinger, I'm going to come to you right after this because, Jay, you made a great point. Dark, as we go further down, right, because a lot of people right now, and I know you're going to, Dark, your first thing you're going to say is, Mooch, I'm not into PC. I understand that. But I know you keep your ear to the ground, so I know you know what I'm talking about. A lot of times people will say, hey, I got a 4090. Should I upgrade to a 5090? And Detzinger already agreed to this. And Detzinger, if you disagree, jump in. A lot of people will say in the PC world, if you have a 4090, no, you don't go get a 5090. You're good.
Yeah,
You're good, right?
Everyone will tell you.
Right, but hear me out. Shout out to Gaming, but I just want to say this because this is what sparked my thought. I want to ask Dark. Gaming Dude 28 in the chat, he says, yeah, I finished building my PC and I have a Pro, but I'm still getting a PlayStation 6. I think the way to go is PlayStation and PC. My question to you, Dark, is eventually, let's just say the PS6 comes out, and that's going to be in the era of the 60 series. The 60 series cards may be out for PC, probably the second year by that point for that generation card. But we're getting closer and closer and closer where people constantly are saying, I don't see, yeah, sure, frames are going to get better with the next console, right? We know that for a fact. So if the next consoles can hit that 120 religiously, right? And then you also have the situation where the graphics are going to be 1440p or better. That Singer will even tell you 1440p is his sweet spot with a good 100 plus frames. The consoles are all going to be able to do that. Probably a PS5 Pro, I think, with PSSR 2.0, but definitely PS6. We're getting to a point where I'm not going to say they're the same. They're not the same, but they're close. And I have friends, we were playing some Warzone, and I had noticed, I looked on my friends list, and one of, you know how it shows the PS5 logo, Dark, or it shows the PS4 logo for your buddies on your friends list? And one of my I didn't know. I go, you still got a PS4? He's like, yeah. He's like, it still fucking works. Like, that's what Jay said. A lot of people, he's like, it's good enough for me. That's what he said. He's like, it's good enough for me. He doesn't do the console war. He doesn't listen to gaming podcasts. He's one of the statistics that buys 1 or 2 games a year, generally NBA 2K, and he'll play Call of Duty, right? So, Dark, when you get to a certain point, and the reason I ask you this, especially because you're not a PC guy, is are you content as a console fan as progression moves and you see things are going PS5 Pro, then PS6? We don't know what's going to be in the PS6, but you know what I'm saying? Is that something that holds water, or you're like, no, the gap is going to widen and consoles are going to really, really fall further and further behind?
I feel like that. I feel like Jim Carrey in Dumb and Dumber. You know that scene where he's in the bar and he's talking to the FBI agent and she's just yakking in his ear, and he goes, I don't care.
Yes.
That's me. That's me in a nutshell. I feel like that in the utmost, like.
And this is important though, Dark. You're saying it in a comedic way, but it's important.
I know. But I don't care because of the fact that I already know what I'm getting when I get a PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
I know what I'm getting.
Yep.
I know what I'm going to get if I get a PC. I'm going to get a fucking mountain of headache of trying to download drivers and freaking having to have a freaking Windows Defender or Norton or whatever the heck they use nowadays. I don't want any of that. I don't want to deal with any of that, especially when I'm trying to play a video game.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to turn it on and play a game.
Now, see,
granted, sometimes there are times where it may not be as smooth or anything like that. But for me personally, like when I'm playing a video game and I'm getting, I bought a over $1,000 TV so I can play games at the best quality that I can possibly see them at. Right. Like I don't necessarily play games or like playing games at 30 FPS, but like if the performance is better with a game that's running it at 30 FPS, I'll play it there. I'll play it on that on that mode. Typically it's quality mode or whatever.
Mhm.
All play on balanced when they do that. Sometimes they do that with some games, but it's just, for me personally, I just want to get into the game, play it, and not have to worry about all this other things that everybody else worries about.
And the reason I'm glad you say it, Dark,
but that's the thing, Mooch, right? Everybody else is worried about what Xbox is doing. Everybody's worried about what PlayStation is doing. Why are you so worried about it? Who cares? Because guess what? You already know what you're getting when you get these things, right? You know what you're getting when you're getting a Nintendo.
Right.
You know
that's fair.
Like you know you're gonna get a Mario game. You know you're gonna get
you're not gonna get intense
Zelda.
You're not gonna get intense ray tracing on your next Zelda, right?
Exactly. You're not gonna get all the bells and whistles that a PC can do. You already know that.
And that's the thing. So Detsinger, the reason I'm glad you're hearing Dark say that. No, and Dark, I appreciate that. Detsinger, the reason I say, and I only go to you because you're the resident PC guy, and it's like the thing about it is, and shout out to Blessed Red. Blessed Red, he's probably having a heart attack listening to this as Dark's saying that, because Blessed Red will not play anything under, I think, 144 frames. So, Detsinger, when it comes to that, that's what I'm saying. I think a lot of times in the community and in the bubble, people are always like, well, everyone is switching over to PC, and that's fine. The community is the community. The gaming community can do as it wishes, but there is such a market out there for these consoles, and I think that's the one thing that I've been saying to you a lot. And people go, you even saw, I think shout out to Chris Dring who said it. He's like, I'm concerned. He didn't say it's going to happen. He goes, I'm concerned with some of the numbers that consoles are gonna dip next generation or are gonna start to dip. And it's like, to be honest with you, the only reason you saw some of the numbers fall a little bit this year is the numbers were projected to be higher because GTA 6 was supposed to come out this year. And then they moved it. Next year, I think, like Mag said, you're going to see it's going to sell like gangbusters. It's going to be unbelievable. But there's a lot of people that feel the way Dark feels. The people that I work with on a day-to-day basis feel like Dark. They're just going to go get the next iteration of PlayStation. They know what they're getting when they get home, and they don't want to do anything.
Especially when GTA 6 comes out.
Exactly.
You don't think GTA 6 is going to sell gangbusters of consoles?
Oh, my God.
You got to know the thing coming.
Next year's going to be crazy.
Guaranteed. Yeah. Okay, people like Detsinger will be out there and being like, rah, rah, I'm going to wait those 18 months for the game to come out.
He has a PlayStation. He's going to play it.
Yeah, but the
thing is, like, I will wait. If GTA isn't 60 FPS, if it isn't,
you'll play it. You got a PS5. You'll play it.
No. If it isn't 60 FPS, I'm not going to play it. No, because
we know. Wink, 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 wink. We know.
Yeah. Wink, wink. You want to place a bet on it? If that ain't 60 FPS, I ain't buying it. But
you know it's going to be 60.
I'm willing to make that. No, I'm willing to make that bet because the fact is, like, I require 60 FPS at a bare minimum, and that's a bare minimum. That's like trash bin. You need to be at 60 FPS. Like, I need you to be at 120 FPS, but obviously I'm not going to get that. So I'll settle for 60. Though I'm willing to settle. I'm willing to go meet the people where they are. But it's,
meet the people. It's great.
At the end of the day, as Argument said, there's people who will just want the simplicity and don't want to have to worry about nothing and just plug in, get home, kick up feet on the couch and play the game. There will always be people like that.
That's me in a nutshell.
But the thing is, it's like
they call you Death Waiter. They call you Death Waiter. Oh man! The chat. You guys are crazy.
I mean, to be fair, I'll take it because I'm not going to compromise my bottom line. It's like if someone said, "Oh, you get 60 FPS now," I'll be like, "That's the bare minimum, my guy." Because currently everything's over 120. I'm spoilt to the core, and because I'm spoilt and I've been spoilt for so long, why am I going to downgrade my own experience? That's just foolish. So if it's 60, I'll get it. And then as soon as it comes to PC, I'm immediately selling the PlayStation because I ain't going to be playing none of that first party on there. And I'll just be going straight back to PC.
Detsinger, if you get your PS5 Pro and you sell it, I'll take it for $99. That'll be fat.
Well, Well, I mean,
Sold.
it probably if I try selling it to like GameStop or whatever, they'll be giving me like $99 anyway. So
Right,
I mean, I'll
exactly.
probably take it at that point, you know. But
Are you
actually,
paying
no.
for shipping and handling, Mooch? too?
All right. Well, Dark, that's going to have to be,
Well,
that'll be negotiated.
well, I don't know
Yeah,
about because I guarantee you that's going to cost a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to cost
That's
quite
true.
a bit. Posting and packaging on
yeah,
that
it'll
one.
cost more than 100. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, all right. So let's do this. So we have the great Mag here. I probably, my God, I know what Mag's going to do. I know Mag so well. I'm going to Mag because I know this is it.
Mooch.
Mag,
Listen, Josh Allen, don't wait for me.
Okay.
I don't wait.
okay, Mag. Last question, and then you can bounce. I know you want to go. So
Yeah, I got the jersey on and everything.
Mag, what do you think? Oh, we've seen it. We've seen it, Mag. My question for you is this. Okay, the rumor next week. State of play. All right, so state of play or showcase. That's your first question there. One or the other. Name that. And what do we see there?
Will it happen? I mean, it just seems like the rumors. I haven't heard anything myself, but the rumors keep bubbling up, and it keeps gaining momentum.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's got to be something going on. Although the fact that they haven't said anything just yet, it is now Thursday. I think that if we don't hear anything by Friday, then I don't think that I don't know. Like, can you see them taking the weekend off and then showing up on Monday and saying, by the way, in 36 hours, we're doing an event?
I think they've done it in the past.
They've done it before.
Like 2 days in advance.
That short of notice?
I think they did it within like 48 hours one time.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So the last one that just happened, the one that just happened 2 weeks ago, was how much? Do you guys remember offhand, or even anybody in the chat? Do you know offhand how long notice they gave before they actually said
it? Was like 4 days.
Yeah, it was a little bit longer. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a little bit longer. That was
So
the
that's-
007 one, right?
I'm just trying to get a litmus test of like where this, like, you know what I mean? So like if they say something tomorrow, okay, understood. But again, the word is, and like I said, originally the plan was to launch Venom next year,
Okay.
and Wolverine the year after. What ended up happening is that the development on Wolverine was actually moving much faster than they had anticipated and in a positive direction. So it looks like Wolverine is ready to show. But my question is this: why would you? And this is just a question. I don't have any knowledge of this, inside knowledge, and I'm not an insider. I just hear things. The thing is that why would you do a state of play for a game like Wolverine if you have no intention of dropping it anywhere between the next 12 months?
Exactly.
Because where are you putting this? Like I don't have to go through the whole list of what's coming, guys, but I mean, let's face it. When you hit January, February, or February specifically, you're going to be dominated by Resident Evil Requiem. Then you've got 007 in March, by the way, both of those games, specifically, and the reason why I'm bringing up PlayStation is those both have the marketing deals with Sony. So therefore, Sony treats their marketing games as exclusives, right? They put all the focus on it. They put everything else on it.
That's a good point.
So they're going to put a big marketing push in February for that. They're going to put a big marketing push for 007 in March. And then you dovetail basically into like, God willing that GTA 6 actually drops in May, then that is also a Sony marketed deal. Then therefore, they're going to be putting all their marketing machine behind that. Why would you put Wolverine anywhere near any of these things? So therefore, summer's usually a quieter time. So what makes the most logical sense, gentlemen? The most logical sense is the fall of 2026, somewhere between September and December of 26, and that's where you're going to maximize profit. Because that is what we like to call the Super Bowl of gaming. It's always from September to November, right?
That's right.
That's when all the big games drop. And so we know that that's coming. So why would you do a state of play and say, oh, and by the way, it's in 13 friggin' months? What?
Yeah.
Why would you even bother? So I'm just saying that's one side of the coin. The one side of the coin is why would you do a state of play for something that's not coming for another 13 months? Yes.
Unless they have something in September to November that is bigger than Wolverine.
I highly doubt it.
Which I'm agreeing
Ghost
with
of
your
Yotei
point.
is I think Ghost of Yotei is their trophy for this fall, I guess.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely their trophy for this fall, and then whatever comes out the beginning half of next year, and then it'll
and like I said,
probably be like you said, probably in September or October, like how Spider-Man they did with Spider-Man with those games. So,
and like I said, those
don't
three
see
bangers.
honestly, I was like surprised that I was
Yeah.
actually surprised that anybody even people were rumoring. Well, I'm not really surprised by the rumors, but I was kind of like taken back by. I was all like, why would they do another state of play for Wolverine when that sounds like more like it'll be their flagship for that holiday season?
Right, for next year. And
Yeah.
again, once again, the first 3 big games of 2026, third-party games, excuse me. The 3 big third-party games are all marketed by Sony. So in that respect, they're going to sell a shitload of consoles. They're going to put a lot of their marketing behind it. And so you're going to have 1, 2, and 3, and that takes you directly into summer, which we all know traditionally summer gaming monthly active users tend to sag, right?
Yeah.
Because people go out, touch some
They're
grass,
outside,
touch
yeah,
grass, do whatever
absolutely.
they got to do, right? And so they're doing all that kind of stuff. So then when you go back into the fall, so basically once you hit late May, early June, once the summer showcase is over, it's almost like gaming takes a small vacation until September. Obviously, people still buying stuff, gaming, but it's not the same. So in that respect, this game is not coming out for at least another year. Now, this still could showcase it, but why though? You're building hype for something that's going to be a year away. I just don't get it. I may be 100% wrong.
Mhm.
I don't even know. Like I said, no one's told me squat about this. The only things I heard is what I told you guys already. And it turns out that looks like what they're working on, a new thing called, it's like a propulsion technology thing, whatever that I don't understand. I'm not a tech guy. And they're utilizing that for Venom, which is actually going to be utilized also for Spider-Man 3 for PlayStation 6. So I'm like, oh, that's very cool. And they're like, yeah, they're utilizing that technology for both. And then whatever, it's going to go into there. And I'm like, you know what? I'm fine. I'm Spider-Man'd out anyway. To be
Right,
quite honest.
yeah.
So I'm like, I'd rather do the Wolverine game anyway. It
Well,
makes a lot of
how
sense.
early out did they show Ghost of Yotai? How early was that shown? Was that 6 months before?
What, when they first announced it?
Well, got a state of play.
The 20.
No,
yeah,
they announced that like last year sometime, didn't they?
It was last year,
Yeah, but
wasn't
he's
it?
talking about but you're talking
But
about that
the-
20-minute, like only Yote, right?
Just the Yotai. Yeah, the 20-minute Yotai.
but
that
it was
was
an
That was
announcement.
like June, wasn't it?
was that this summer?
I think it was this summer.
Yeah, but the thing is, there's 2 different kinds. There's a dedicated state of play, and then we've
Yeah.
seen state of plays where they show snippets, right? And or which really lure. And you saw Neil Druckmann changed his bio on X, and he said intergalactic, and it says soon, right? So
The announcement trailer was September 24th, 2024, so a year ago. However, hold on. So it was basically a year. So this kind of falls in line, like if they did do that. But the thing is, you're not announcing this. We already know it's
Right.
coming.
right,
they-
it wouldn't
they-
be an
they announced
announcement, but they could put
5 years ago.
You said it. You said it before, though. You could definitely. There's going to be. You said this, Meg, when you were on a few weeks ago. You said something to the effect of, Mooch. You said they're going to have a state of play, but then they got to have something to show at the Game Awards. You know,
Game Awards seems to be the more likely option that they would say coming 2026 or whatever, right? And just say the year. I just don't see them doing it now. I see them putting it in when there's more eyeballs. How many? What was it? 80 million, whatever the hell it was that watched the Game Awards. I mean, it's not that they're going to get a shortage of people viewing anything that they put up, but it just to me it doesn't make any sense. And like I said, I may be 100% wrong, and I'll eat that. But I just don't get the logic of it. And like I said, it's not like you're surprising us with an announcement. Ghost of Yote was a surprise. We knew that they were working on something, and there was some kind of we thought there was some kind of a sequel. But when they officially announced the name, showed the protagonist, did a little bit of the story, blah, 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 it was September 24th, 2024. So therefore, that was an announcement.
Okay.
We already know this game is coming. They showed the thing of him sitting at the bar and his claws came up and blah, 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 blah. Right? So we already knew. So like, okay, announcing Wolverine, we're like, yeah, bro, we know.
yeah.
Like when are you releasing it? You know what I mean? So I don't know. And you just had a state of play. I get it. It was for, but like I said, once again, they like to focus on what they have coming up. I don't think they're going to take the focus off of Ghost of Yote. Now, with what's going on right now, okay, let's get into this very briefly. But what's going on right now? There's a lot of chitter chatter, and there's a lot of stink going on right now in the gaming community and whatever else. Not everybody, but like there's a lot of talk about, oh, I'm getting refunds and this and that or whatever, or people are saying, F you, I'm buying it anyway. There's a lot of stuff going on. I think maybe they need to focus on that game right now and save Wolverine for the Game Awards. Because you got to focus on what you got coming up right now, and that's your big game for the fall. Of course, Call of Duty is going to sell majority on PlayStation. We already know that. But this game, also has to hit. But the other thing is too, by the way, Battlefield 6 is also marketed with PlayStation. So they got a lot of marketing money that they have to put up here. What is the purpose of showing us Wolverine a year later?
Interesting.
It's funny. It's funny. Brap, shout out to Brap in the chat. Brap says this all the time. Is you got to watch and follow. People follow the business follows the money, right? If you see all these games that are getting the marketing rights of PlayStation, this and that. That's why when I see, I'm glad at least some channels are still running with it, but like really the Xbox platform, Xbox a publisher, great, fantastic, and probably the right move for them financially. But Xbox platform is not getting any of these. EA and Battlefield were always assimilated with Xbox, and now it's not. So like I really think that this was going to be a sidebar conversation, but I mean the Xbox, people being like, oh, Xbox, you're going to be playing my Sony games on an Xbox. You're going to be playing your Sony games if they are with an Xbox made by Hewlett Packard. It's not going to be, you know what I mean? Like, it's not, we got to stop with the playing it. Everything's an Xbox.
Which is true. I mean, they literally just came out with the ROG Ally
Xbox.
Xbox.
Yeah, it's coming out in a few weeks, I think.
You're not wrong in that at all, Mooch. And I think that's, I mean, I used to, you know me, Mooch. I used to love Xbox. You and me both used to love Xbox.
Yeah, absolutely.
We used to be big Xbox dudes.
Yep.
But then we started seeing the writing on the wall.
That's
right. We
right.
started seeing where Xbox was taking it, and we didn't like it.
Yeah.
And so we moved on and got into something else.
Mhm.
And that's where Xbox is lying now, is where their line is wherever they can basically sell their software.
Right.
And that's what Microsoft's always been.
And that's fine. That's what Mag said it when he built this PC and he turned it on. It was like, would you like Xbox? Would you like Microsoft 365? Would you like Game Pass? Would you like this? Would you like Windows? Would you like this? Everything.
And you don't even own the software anymore. You have to rent it, basically.
You have to rent it. Yeah, and that's what I was saying earlier. Is that what happened? Is it's like, okay, well, you no longer have people exclusively on a system or a specific system. What they've done now is says, okay, well, how do we funnel everybody into our ecosystem? And so that's how they're utilizing it going forward. So like, okay, so they're doing something different. So again, whether it's an Xbox, whether it's a PC or whatever, like I couldn't even do Microsoft Word. I have I was doing a document that I had written years ago, but I needed to access it. And I'm like, okay, I need to make a small change on this before I send out this document. And I went in there and it says, well, if you want Microsoft Word, you got to get 365. I'm like, you bastards. So what I did is I found a way around it. I had to dig and dig. It took me like 2:00 in the morning. I ended up finding some website that are like, yo, in case you don't like doing this, come over here. You could do the change in like 2 seconds and we don't charge you guys anything. And I did. And so, but that's how they get you in that. So one way or another, they funnel you down into that. Anyways, gentlemen, go Buffalo, squish the fish. My prediction for tonight's score is going to be 35-15 Buffalo. Josh Allen's going to get 2 rushing touchdowns. Go Buffalo.
All right.
Honestly, I could see that happening, to be honest.
Yeah, I 100%.
I can too.
Is really good.
They're good, and the fish are not doing very well.
We'll see you in February.
Great to have you, Mag. Thank you, buddy. Let everybody know about the Mag Show, please.
Yeah. No, listen, man, the Mag Show. You know where to find me. And then space Mag Show, all capital letters. We're having a lot of fun, doing a lot of things. I invite everybody. I don't give a shit what you play on, what you do. Xbox, PlayStation, PC, Nintendo Switch. Everybody's welcome. Last night, like I said, I did a 3-hour stream on the channel. We had about 350 people come by. And it was fantastic.
That's awesome.
Had on the foursome that I had on there, not the kind that I like, but the foursome that I had on there last night. I had one guy on Xbox, one guy on PC, and 2 guys. Well, myself, I was on a PS5 Pro, and another guy on a PlayStation. That's how we should be gaming, folks. Doesn't matter where. Yeah. Nobody said anything. No one talked shit. No one called anybody a pony. Nobody called anybody an Xbot or a PC Master Race, whatever. No one said any of that stuff. We just had fun, had a good time. That's what we do over my channel. So come check it out. And I talk about literally everything. Hey, Magcast Tuesday nights, usually around 8:30, 8:45, give or take. I had almost 1,000 people come over last Monday. I've only been doing it a month, doing the live shows, and it's become a huge hit. So, anyways, everybody, have yourself a wonderful night. Happy gaming. Be nice to each other. Anybody clip me, I'll come and find you. Have yourself a great day.
Good luck to Buffalo, man.
Shout out to Mag. Great to have Mag here. That was fantastic. So yeah, I mean, Nib's going to be joining us soon. I think he's making scrambled eggs. He'll be here in a minute. Go ahead, Dark.
Mooch, it's just the beginning of the season, man. Don't rule out anybody in the beginning of football.
I won't, but I'm a Giants fan, and J-Dub will send me something momentarily reminding me how bad the Giants are.
The Giants have sucked for the past couple of years, so I mean, you probably have one more year, and then next year they'll probably be good.
That's what I said. I said we do bad this year, get a great top 10 pick, and in the first round, and grab yourself an offensive lineman and get Dart out there. That's the strategy. Sports, everybody. You can't talk sports on a gaming podcast. You're not allowed to. Great to have the great. Yes, please, Detzinger.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think the state of play is gonna be Saros, and then Wolverines at Game Awards.
I agree, Saros.
I can see that.
Saros, it's gonna be Saros because that's supposed to be releasing next year.
Saros gameplay.
Yeah,
So Detzinger with a surprise curveball.
That's exactly what's on my mind.
Because there's no way you're showing that at the Game Awards when you could be showing off a Wolverine. So you may as well drop the state of play now for Saros. Get the information out there, some gameplay.
So you know what's funny? I agree with you because as much as I'm in love with Returnal, and I think Saros is going to be the successor with the most. Okay, it's going to be fantastic. I will agree with if we follow Mag's logic. I think that we're going to have a situation where if you're going to have I don't think Saros is going to sell like insane. You guys can tell me if I'm wrong. I think it'll do well amongst
it'll probably do like Returnal numbers.
I think it'll do just slightly above Returnal numbers. No, and that's just because it's the next evolution, right? It is good. And that's something that you can see they squeak between that March, right, with 007 and May, right? So you have April in there. Hey, why not get Saros in there for people that just want to jam out and play for 6 weeks between those games? People say all the time, "Oh, I'm going to wait," and then 2 weeks after they wait, they're like, "Maybe I'll buy something." It's just I even said it right. Here I am. I'm sitting here and I'm enjoying Borderlands, and I still have to play. What is it, Chronos? I still have to play that, and I'm sitting here and I have my finger right on the buy button every day to pick up Silksong, just because I'm like, why not? $20, why not?
I know. They put it at such a price.
By the way, we don't.
It's a great game. It's super difficult, and for only $20, I mean, you're definitely going to get your money's worth out of it.
Oh, well, listen. Here's the other thing. You
have to like really hard games.
Are you guys seeing this online though? Every other tweet, or post on X, however you want to call it these days, is giving away a copy of Borderlands 4 or Silksong. I've now entered. Like more chances, right, than New York lottery tickets, and there's not a chance in hell I'm winning any of these things. You know how hard it is to be a mooch in 2025? It's very difficult.
It's not like when we were back in 2015.
No, it's not. No,
you could mooch off of anybody.
You could because you they were like giving this away, and then you just retweet and like. So you retweet, you liked it, and then you looked like a day later, and only 4 other people liked it. You're like, I got a shot.
And every time you got a game, I would always be pissed off and be like, God damn it, Mooch.
Yeah, you were like, you again?
And then you're like, dude, this is all you got to do, man.
This is all you got to do. Apparently, everybody was reading what you got to do. Because now it's like, I looked the next day and it's like 4,000 retweets. I'm like, well, screw me. That's over. I got no shot.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, that's what we all say. So honestly, Detzinger, great call on your part. J-Dub, what do you think? What do we got to see? Because, I mean, you got your ear to the ground in the PlayStation community, Jay. What do you think? Are people going to be... If Saros is the game that we see next week, if it is indeed next week, is that enough for people that have been waiting for the big, because you do have Ghost of Yotei coming out October 2nd. So, I mean, is that enough to know that Saros might be something in spring or early summer?
Yeah, I think it could be Saros. Ultimately, though, I think they're going to show more than just one game.
Yes, me too.
Don't expect them just to show Saros or just or just even Wolverine. I'm expecting Wolverine. I'm expecting Saros. I'm expecting something from Sony Santa Monica. I'm expecting the big games of what's going to happen in 2026 and 2027, perhaps. That's not to say we know they're going to show something at the Game Awards. It's just how much are they going to show at this event? Is it a showcase or just a state of play? Is it, is all of these things? But I'm expecting a ton of games, a ton of first party games, not just third party. And who knows? I mean, we could see that second GTA 6 trailer. We could see. I mean, we could see something from that. I don't know. but I'm just excited about the first party stuff.
Mhm.
What is Blue Point doing? What is, we still got the live service games out there that we haven't saw. I know we've heard stuff from Marathon and Fair Games and all the stuff behind the scenes,
Mhm.
all the leaks and stuff like that. But we still haven't seen any gameplay. We still haven't seen what the hell most of that stuff is. So let's see what's going on.
No, I agree with you, Jay. Shout out to Moonshot. Moonshot with a great critique earlier. He's like, I love writing Mooch some super chats, but he's like, sometimes, you know what it is, Moonshot? He says Mooch will get to the super chats later in the show. And it's funny because if you watch Jay, you know this, different podcasts, right? Some people are able to read them right when they pop up. And I know it's like some other podcasts, which I think both are great. I don't think there's no wrong answer here. Some will wait till the end and then go back and read the super chats. And then it kind of rehashes some of the stories from earlier in the podcast, right? So I think that's also great strategy as well. Moonshot, sometimes the reason I don't always get to the super chat, believe me, I know they're there and they're right here. They're always up right in front of me here. So they're not forgotten. When I have the panel, and remember, this panel here is unique too. We always have different people on the show. You know what I mean? Like this week we have Kofi on. We had Mag on. We had Dark Optimus on. J-Dub stopped by. Brat popped in. You know what I mean? And Nib and Death Singer are here with me weekly, which I truly appreciate. And so when there's Nib, Nib, good morning, Nib. Great to have the great Nib here with us. But Nib, before I ask you a question, let me read Moonshot's.
Your podcast is the new British invasion, dude.
It really is. It really is. By the way, he says
you used to have all East Coast, West Coast people. Now you just have British.
Now it's British. Yeah, I got to be honest with you. And what's funny is people go, Mooch, your podcast is longer since you've had all the Brits on. I said, let me tell you something. These guys can talk. These guys are great. They're professionals.
There's the phrase, we can talk for England. And there's
you guys are fantastic, man. You guys are fantastic. So Moonshot says, that's what I was trying to say last week. I wouldn't be surprised if Sony delays the Wolverine trailer to the Game Awards due to leaks. F these leaks, by the way. And then he's back and he says, a brother can't get an old-fashioned surprise no more. Shout out to Moonshot. Moonshot, thank you very much. Appreciate the super chats. They're working, folks. I really do appreciate it. Lots of games out there. It always helps. Yeah, so Nib, I will ask you the question that we're on, and then I'll kind of go back to the one that we spoke about earlier because it is one that I know you wanted to talk about, and last week I didn't do a great job of bringing your topic up early enough. So Nib, what we're talking about right now is what do you have to see next week if in fact there is a state of play / showcase? The only reason I put showcase instead of state of play, it's more than likely a state of play. But if it is true that a Saros, a Wolverine, or Intergalactics are somewhere in the mix there, and we do see a few things, that's showcase worthy. What do you think, Nib?
So the thing is, like, the clock is kind of ticking on this generation. If the next gen rumors are right, then the PS6 is going to come roughly in fall of 2027. Maybe it will be pushed into early 2028. But that's not a significant amount of time. But they actually have quite a lot still locked in the chamber, right? Which I assume will come out before the console does. As is typical of PlayStation, they like to have quite stacked second half of the generation. Previous generation, there was quite a few big titles right at the end, Last of Us 2, Ghost of Tsushima, etc., Dreams, and you name it. The previous generation before that, GT6, Last of Us, and so on. They've got they've not only got to show off Intergalactic, Wolverine, probably more of Tokon, Saros, then they also have a Venom game that we know is multiple times confirmed that it's coming. And then Santa Monica, a new game, reported about, by Jason Schreier and many others. I think actually, Cory Barlog himself actually spoke about it multiple times. He said basically it's going really well and they're happy with it so far, which is unusual because he didn't say that for. But yeah, so that between those and there's other titles that other studios are working on as well. That doesn't leave you much time to show all of that. So I would say the chances of either having a state of play with more shown than typical or a showcase, although I don't think it's a showcase anymore, is probably higher because of that. Because even if you saved Wolverine for the Game Awards, you still actually have plenty of big first party stuff to showcase or to start before that. So they could do a showcase, but it's just a question of how late they leave these announcements.
Right.
Because we haven't even seen Saros yet. We haven't even seen Venom yet. We haven't seen what Santa Monica. We haven't seen any gameplay from Intergalactic yet. And I don't think we've even seen any gameplay from Wolverine. So So yeah, it's a lot to squeeze in. Because of that, I hope if they do have a show, they do have like a showcase. Even with a showcase, I think they could still leave something for the Game Awards. Imagine you had a showcase, you showed off some gameplay from some of these titles, and then you showed your new Santa Monica game at the Game Awards.
Well, that's it. So I do have to piggyback off that, Nib. You make a good point. Guys, when we think about the Game Awards, like Nib said, the Game Awards, generally, if you have a big game to show, is typically something that hasn't been shown or hasn't been talked about prior, right? So that would be Cory Balrog's game, right? That's we know farther along than most would think. We've already seen Saros mentioned, but you're right. We haven't really seen gameplay. We haven't seen gameplay of Wolverine. We haven't seen gameplay of Intergalactic. Unlike a lot of, unlike others that'll say, oh, you see 2 seconds of gameplay, and like, I seen it, there it is. No, I mean real, honest to God gameplay. You know what I mean? So, I think Corey's game could definitely be in contention for the Game Awards, and then you have something like you said, Saros or something else. But Nib, you kind of present something that, and Dark Optimus, I could assume that you hearing what Nib said kind of made you like cringe a little bit, because he says the rumors are starting to pick up that it could be fall of 2027 when a PS6 comes out. That's not very far. I mean, that's not a long ways from now when you're talking about those 4 or 5 games Nib just said, not to mention other ones we don't know that are in development.
I cringed. I don't know if I cringed.
Well, the only reason I say is because you're not. I think
I was more like, yay.
Well, no, I didn't mean that.
5. I would say there's probably about 10 first-party titles that are due to come out within the next 3-4 years.
Oh no, that's great. But Dark, I thought you were always on record of not being too excited to jump into a new console when you're just getting to enjoy the this generation as it sits. It's like, okay, is 2027 too early? No. Do you think it's right on time?
At this point, dude,
we're not even at the 5th year mark. We're still 4 years in.
Honestly, I haven't even thought about that in a long time, to be honest with you. Like being like, oh, the next console comes out. When the next console comes out, I'm gonna be excited for it.
Absolutely.
2027, 2026, 2027, 2028, doesn't matter. I'm still going to be excited for it. I
remember it's been a while, Dark, but I remember you being on the show and we would already be talking about next gen, and you'd be like, Mooch, can we just reverse this? You were like, can we enjoy where we are? And I was like, yeah, you know what? He's not wrong. I'm already jumping ahead to the next generation.
Remember though, I was in my 20s at that point. So I had a lot of life left, dude. I don't have that much life left, dude.
Dark's aged so 15 years in 13
I'm 36
months.
Years old now.
Oh, you old bastard. It's great, Dark.
I'm getting there, man. I'm getting to the 40s and...
Yeah, you're getting real close to death. I mean,
I don't
that's for damn sure.
Anymore, you know?
I don't blame you. Yeah, you're like, bring that. You know what? Just give me the console next year.
Exactly. Give it to me.
That is actually something. Kofi, what do you think? Because I do think Nib brought up a good point with all those games that are going to be, if that's true in 2027, there's at least 4 or 5 big games. And you can just say, go ahead and release them when you want. But we all know that doesn't really work that way. You can't really have 2 of your big games come out in June and July. So they have holiday. They also don't want to step on each other's toes, right? You don't want Cory Balrog's game coming out 3 months before Intergalactic.
GTA 6 as well.
And you have to avoid GTA 6 for a while, Nib, not just 1 month. You have to give that a good 4 or 5 months, and I don't think that's enough time.
Yeah.
Man, it's a lot to think about. When you talk about 2 years until maybe the next console release, I agree. I would be excited. Just because there probably would be some title I can't wait to play. But at the same time, I've got this little spreadsheet over here of all these games I just want to finish.
Right.
I just want to get through these games.
Spreadsheet.
Right now I'm playing Hell Is Us. And right now I'm loving it. Loving it. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to section my time out for the rest of this year. But anyway, I think that with scheduling around, the next big titles that are coming out, things like Intergalactic or things like GTA 6, I feel like one of these studios is already working on a launch title. Like remember when, this is a long time ago, I don't know if you guys remember this, but Colin Moriarty of, IGN fame and all these things, he kind of knew that Blue Point was working on the Demon's Souls remake, and he knew it long before the PS5 came out. And he's like, I guess it's just going to be a launch title. He really had no idea what was going on with it. And lo and behold, That's what it ended up being. And maybe some of these studios that have been a little more quiet are working on like that next big thing that they can, how would you say, fine tune and make really cater to whatever next gen hardware we're going to get. I could see that, if 2027 is a release date, because I mean, 2 years, what's that in a AAA game, right? That's like the later years,
Right.
So
Yeah, I was thinking about this as well, but they actually potentially have a launch lineup for PS7, 6 as well, because we don't know anything about Horizons. I know they're working on an online game, but that's the secondary smaller studio, and they have a primary studio who, since 2022, has been working on something new.
right?
Guerrilla Games, like historically, they can do launch games for systems. They did with Shadowfall, etc.
Yeah.
So that could be a launch game. Media Molecules game could be a launch game, and then potentially Asobi as well. Because again, they don't have such a lengthy development time, and PlayStation like to always launch their systems with at least one or two family-friendly titles, whether it's Astro's Playroom or Sackboy, etc. Knack and so on. So I could see that being the launch lineup of PS7 being Guerrilla Games is a new AAA game, and then those one or two.
I could also
family-friendly
see
games.
Polyphony Digital coming out with another Gran Turismo.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Because GT7 didn't actually take that long to develop.
Right.
I think it was one of the shortest time frame GT games, and that's because since GT6, they've started scanning and doing all the models for all the games, all the laser scanning stock information is for several generations in time, in terms of the amount of detail they've actually approximated. So even though they might reduce the poly count, say, for GT7 for the PS5, theoretically they can go much more detailed based on the stock sort of data that they have. So it shouldn't take them as long. Previously, the reason it took them so long is because they had to keep bloody doing all the models all over again for every generation and re-scanning or re-upping the detail and stuff. But now all the cars in the game that already exist, there's already more detailed versions of them. But I was going to say the final point, like, if it was me, I think like announcing or reviewing a Santa Monica game at the Game Awards would be like a great PR shout, because
It is.
Outside of Spider-Man, God of War is actually the biggest IP that PlayStation have. It's it was the fastest selling game on the all-time sales awards. It's only just behind the Spider-Man IP. And if you look at sort of like IGN's greatest game of all time awards, I think it had like 33 million votes or something like that. It's the biggest gaming voting in history, like God of War won. So like to have that in a show that has, like 50 million plus views, I think is actually over 100 million now when you do every different platform. So to have that, Santa Monica shows up, and I don't think so. From what Jason Schreier has said, he said it's not a new IP, but you could be fooled into thinking it is, based on how distinguished it is. So I'm guessing it's quite a notable spin-off on the God of War franchise, which could be, again, really big as well. Like it has that IP tie-in, but then it's new enough. Then it has the Santa Monica. Like that could be huge to end a show with a title like that.
So, there's also what you were saying that. So the Cory Balrog and of course Sony Santa Monica carry a lot of weight, but there's also the rumored, and I don't know, maybe I'm saying this wrong. Anyone who knows it can correct me, but the God of War, not Metroidvania type of game is supposed to be also coming out. That's not a Game Awards thing, but that could be another thing that they show quickly if they wanted to show off next week as well. That could be something small that they have that's going to come out, and it's actually probably going to do pretty well. I think you put God of War on something, it'll do all right. Did you guys see the rumors that there are something like that supposedly being developed at Sony, or no?
Yeah, I did. But then I wasn't sure if that was the main game they're talking about, or
No.
Small spin-off. Yeah,
I think it's a small spin-off. Yeah, I
I love Valhalla, like the DLC for Ragnarok. Thought it was phenomenal. Like genuinely, I absolutely loved it. So yeah, 100%, I'd be up for that. It's kind of like, almost felt like a AAA Hades in a way. So yeah, like sign me the fuck up if that is the case.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that was pretty good. So, just to segue real quick here, Kofi, you said something. You said you're playing Hell Is Us. And, when I get a segue like that and I have it as a topic, I do want to talk about it for a second because I thought this was interesting. It's very rare. We do podcasts and even some of the gaming media now, to get more attention. And listen, that's the business they're in, right? They got to get attention. They'll start a little quarrel here or there or have somebody in there, an article and quote somebody on X or something like that, and it gets everybody riled up. But very rarely do you see devs kind of going after a publisher or other devs. And it was interesting. The Hell Is Us creative director says Hollow Knight Silksong Shadow Drop was a little callous and labeling it as, they knew they were the GTA 6 of indies. What do you think about that when you hear something like that, Kofi? You're playing the game Hell Is Us, and Hell Is Us came out, and it really, let's use the word shadow twice. Silksong was shadow dropped, and then it overshadowed Hell Is Us. What do you think?
Before I give my thoughts on what he said, I just want to give a quick impression. I will say this. I want to make sure I give some background on why I enjoy Hell Is Us. When I talked about like last year, a game I liked from 2023 called Remnant 2, the number one thing I loved about Remnant 2 is I didn't know what the heck was going on, and the mystique of the exploration kept me riveted. And I thought Hell Is Us would be that. So far, Hell Is Us has done an excellent job at that. And I love the combat and all of these things. But and you know what? At the end of the day, I feel for his situation with Silksong kind of shadow dropping. But I don't know if tweeting about it helps. I don't know. Like, to be honest, I've kind of dampen down my social media intake. I did think I saw an article about his reaction, but I forgot to investigate. So I'm fairly sure most people would say, that's too bad. The gaming market is busy. It's ruthless. But for a new IP to do some of the things that I particularly enjoy, like no map, there's just some mechanics that I think are maybe overdone in some of our games, like just having a map with all these icons on it. And this one's like, you just got to naturally explore. I love it. And so I kind of want to celebrate his product without necessarily saying I want to be negative about, Silksong just because.
That's fair. Popular. No, that's fair. No, listen, I only went to you, Kofi, because you are playing the game. So no, your opinion on the game, A, counts first. B, it's just unusual. We don't see that. And I see somebody in the chat going, they're questioning what I said. Silksong, the GTA of indies. That was what I believe that's one of his other quotes. He was just meaning the popularity of it. Silksong over the past, 4 or 5 years? How many years have people been waiting for? 6 years? Has become like this myth. It's almost become like this thing that was, years. Right? It was never going to be real.
More like 7 or 8 years.
Oh, 7 or 8, Dark, right.
There was this indie game that was going to come out the same week. The same day. It was the same day as Hell Is Us and Chronos New Dawn called Demon School. It's like a turn-based RPG kind of based on like the Persona 1 game, like the original Persona games. They moved to November. And I didn't find out until like I had to go back to Twitter and be like, oh, they did. I was trying to buy the game. I'm like, what's going on? So, and then other titles did this too. There was a bunch of indie titles that were like, nope, November, October. So, I was salty because I wanted my game,
right?
But man, I feel for these devs because it can make or break.
I gotta say, and it's funny because I do kind of. I'm not going to sit here and say one side was right or the other. Listen, you drop a game, you have to be. But the one thing that we just said, we just spent a lot of time. Nib gave a couple of examples. J-Dub, we were talking about this earlier too. Like the point of the matter is like these guys space out their games deliberately because they want to make their money, right, Jay? Like if I know you're making a game and I know you got a big game coming out. And I know mine's got a decent chance of becoming something that people may have never heard of and becoming maybe a fan favorite, but I can't go up against a big household name like your game. I'm definitely not coming out anywhere near you. But if you all of a sudden decide to go on stage with Jeff Keighley, and I was like, oh man, nobody ever launches anything in May, and you're like, I'm dropping J-Dub 2.0 and you dropping it in May, my game is kind of shot, So how do you feel about that? Like I said, and don't get me wrong, shout out to Kofi for being like, he didn't want to throw any shade. It's not really shade. It's really just, we don't see that in the industry where someone says that. And to be honest with you, I don't necessarily think the creative director was wrong in his statement. He put his, you put your blood, sweat, and tears into a game, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I guess we're not going to talk about my game anymore. It's like, well,
yeah. To be fair, I'm 27 hours in on the game. I think the game is great. I gave it so far, I think I gave it a 9 out of 10. For me, but I look at it like, Silksong, those indie type games, I don't see someone looking in the store saying, "Oh man, I'm trying to see which game I'm gonna get. Is it gonna be Hell Is Us or Silksong?" Like they're two totally different things.
That's very
right?
true. That's very true.
So
Okay, that's fair.
I don't think Now he may not like another game dropping or stealing his thunder or attention for the week or the weekend, but two totally different games. I bought both. I bought both of those games. It didn't. One's what, $20, the other's like 59 bucks. It's two totally different games, two totally different feels, two totally different scopes. So I don't know. Maybe he felt like, hey, listen, nobody else is going to drop on the day that we're going to drop, so we're going to drop this here,
right?
And then Silksong.
See, it's interesting when you say that, Jay, because you made a great point. Those are two very different games. So you're saying, wait, Mooch, it doesn't hold water because that's a different consumer. The thing about it, though, is that when you are in the market for a new game, you're like, I don't mind to go drop anywhere between, let's just say you said 30 and 60, and of course, Silksong being $20, but that's unusual. And then you have all of the streamers playing it. I mean, that thing, even in off hours on Twitch, that thing still has 14 to 20,000 viewers on off hours. So you got people that are playing it that are big time streamers. Then you have every single gaming show and podcast talking about it. I'm talking about everything from small to very large channels talking about Silksong. And you just launched. The thing is, I think you may even have lost. And Kofi is actually the only. Kofi can sit here and say, nope, wrong. I still went Hell Is Us because I was looking, but he knew that game was coming. I'm talking about the people that just have that, that quick impulse buy finger, and they want to just buy something real quick. And I said it earlier, like, you guys know Silksong's that's not something that I had on my list that I'm like, I gotta play that game. But I'm sitting there, and every single time I go through the store and I'm just messing around, I'm like, man, there it is, $19.99. I mean, when was the last time a game was $19.99? You know what I mean? Yeah. It's unfathomable. So people are just kind of picking it up and running with it. So I get what you're taking. Dark, what do you think when you hear this? Is this something that you go, well, hey, you know what? That sucks, but it is what it is? Or do you think that maybe these bigger games that know they're going to be bigger? Not bigger games, I shouldn't say that, because Silksong is an indie platform as well. But I'm saying, should they have known better to do that and communicated a date? Not with them, but just put it out there. They don't owe the Hell Is Us people any formal notice, but to put the date out there for just everyone to know.
Well, that's the thing. I think I don't know about Hell Is Us. I mean, I know of it, and I've seen things of it, of course, because I'm fucking nerd. I saw a lot of stuff about it, but I see it as like, is it a game for everyone, right? Like, and Silksong really isn't a game for everyone either. It has more of those elements to it that make people go, oh, okay, I'll give it a shot, right? And so for me personally, I think from the developer coming out and saying the things that he was saying, I think he has every right to do that. He has, we live in a free freaking country, right? Everybody, we have freedom of speech. So, that's understandable. And I think at some sort of point he should have known that, like, there was going to be a game that was going to trample his game. Okay. Because that game isn't, and from what I've seen, gameplay that I've seen and saying that there's no map, that turns a lot of people off, Yeah. So I think honestly, it was gonna be sold to a more niche market than it would have been to the masses in the first place. Now, I think it coming around the time that we got to remember Metal Gear Solid Delta was coming out, Borderlands 4 came out not that long ago. You know, it was coming out in between some of these more heavier hitters.
That's true.
And
that's a great point.
That's the risk that you have to take when you come out during. It's like that. It's like the Titanfall 2, and you know. I already know what Mooch is thinking. Vincent Bella, goddamn you!
You remember that? It's so true, dude.
But you remember that, right? Remember that time when Battlefield and Call of Duty were coming out at the same time, and then they smacked freaking Titanfall 2 right in the middle of that. And how well did Titanfall 2 do? You know, like it sold. Yeah, I mean, people played it. We played it. I mean, I know you and I played it together, and many others have played it together, but it wasn't like the gangbusters that I think that they were hoping for. And this is kind of a similar situation, not in that grand scale, because I mean, Titanfall 2, Battlefield, and Call of Duty were a lot more of a popular brands at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And especially since it's such a new IP coming out during a time where there was going to be a lot of, you know, these much more prominent IPs coming out. That's tough, man. That is a tough.
You make a good point with the fact that you had Borderlands coming out, and if Borderlands is coming out and you're going to be a week or two before that, I mean, how did you think that was going to fare as well?
Right.
It's tough because, like you're saying, like we usually criticize the industry for not taking risks, or like just new IPs in general. I'm not saying like Hell is Us is like the most unique game ever, but they are doing some unique things. So you try to say that's really cool. Like, let me check it out. But at the same time, how are you going to stop like the love of sequels, the love of nostalgia for other things?
Right.
Yeah. No, shout out to outstanding. Thank you so much for the super chat, man. Bespoke ! He says you can't have something called showcase and state of play. He says all that does is make people upset when they do a state of play. How do you tell a team that they will be part of a next state of play and not the showcase? They are normalizing state of play. A showcase will include new hardware. That's an interesting point with the hardware. I think, you know, did we get another showcase after the initial one? Have we had two showcases or one this generation?
Just one.
I think just one.
Just one.
It was just one showcase. So I think maybe Bespoke ! Makes a good point when he says that, because he's saying maybe that we're going to save showcases for the real deal. That's going to be hardware and hardware only. Hardware, and then what that hardware can produce, right? Then some IP that go along with that. That's an interesting point. The Gaming Ledger says, just want to show my support. Great show, guys. Ledger, thank you very much. Glinser says, Super Mario Galaxy movie, Tomb Raider show, but these IPs and new games, do game companies see more profit in movie shows than games? Glinser, I'm going to reread that when I revisit that topic for Nib, because I know Nib wanted to get into that. But again, thank you so much for the super chats, guys. It truly does mean a lot.
I was just going to say one final point on the Silksong thing.
Sure. No, go ahead, Nib.
The tricky thing with Silksong as well is I've been hammering that game every day. I'm not even kidding. I say this quietly so my wife doesn't. But I've been playing even when I've got the charts on, or I'm doing work or emails or whatever, like in the back. Go on it whenever.
Which game? I'm sorry.
Put my email on. I don't know. I'm playing some more. Then I'm doing this, and I'm playing some more.
Silksong, Kofi. He's talking about Silksong. Yeah.
Silksong. Yeah. So, but the thing is, this is not only like is it cheap, but it's a seriously long game in terms of the amount of content available. I feel like it's almost like an endless amount of content. There's constantly stuff to discover and figure out and find, and side quests and this new NPC and this new tool, this new skill or whatever. It's just like never ending. I don't even know how many hours I've got. I know it's a ton. Like it's approaching like almost RPG levels.
Nib, allow me to enhance your point here. You've mentioned something that's very interesting, that if people aren't following you on X, I don't know why they aren't. If they're missing out. But the one thing you said is the more I'm playing it, your score's dropping, and that was one of the main reasons I didn't pick this game up when I played. And it's not saying it's a 1-for-1 because Dead Cells wasn't like this game at all. But my point being is like, as I played, I think Ori and the Will of the Wisps and Ori and the Blind Forest were the two exemptions. But like this going back and forth in the map and the struggle that you're doing, I see some of the struggles, and it's just like it does reduce some of the fun after so many hours.
I totally agree with that.
I've kind of gone back on that a little bit. But so okay, here's what it is basically. Whenever you enter a new act in the game, suddenly the skill ceiling is significantly higher, and it takes quite a lot of time to balance things out. And what I mean by that is when you enter a new act, obviously everything in that act has been designed for, because there's no order in which you do things generally. I mean, there is with a few things, but like the main kind of storyline elements that to progress, like whether you get the bells in Act 2 or you ring the bells in Act 1 or you get the melodies in Act 2, they're like the main things that you have to do. You can do them in any order you want, get any of the 3 melodies in whichever order, and you can ring any of the bells in whichever order. So that poses a bit of a design conundrum in the sense that you could be playing Act 2 for, say, 15, 20, 30 hours, right? So how do you design the difficulty for a game in which you can do something in any order? Yes, some people will do things that are too challenging and just turn around. But otherwise, like, you kind of need to balance the difficulty to be appropriate no matter how far into it you are. And what ended up happening was when Act 1 in the beginning was, really difficult. Then when you upgrade all your shit and you unlock loads of stuff, by the end, it's not that challenging. Act 2 was a similar thing. When I first joined, I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, I'm just like literally dying all the time. I'm getting like 2 hits sometimes in cases. There's just non-stop bloody obstacles and things that kill you everywhere. If it's not spikes, it's flying enemies, projectiles, lava. There's literally everything they throw the kitchen sink at you, basically. Every kitchen sink. And it's just like, this is bollocks. Like, this is artificial difficulty spike. But then, basically, this is like the cheat code for Silksong. If anyone is struggling, honestly, just unlock Cogfly as soon as possible. Cogfly, it's a tool. Once you get Cogflies, it significantly makes the game easier. Cogfly is basically like these 3 or 4 little, like, they're called flies, but they look more like, they essentially hover above you.
Okay.
And DPS for you. And that makes the game so much easier because you can concentrate on other things, if that makes sense. So if you're doing a platforming run and there's spikes and lava and projectiles, whatever, you can concentrate on avoiding that while your Cogflies are DPSing any annoying ads in the distance. Like, they're just taking them out, basically, or at least drawing the fire. And that significantly opens things up too. Like in Act 2, now I'm further into it, I've unlocked way more hearts, much damage on my needle and all the rest of it. So in the beginning, what was like ridiculously frustrating and just now is like not a cakewalk, but kind of like it's actually nothing has really been that much of a challenge for me in the last 5 to 10 hours. And it's just because I'm stacked up again. So yeah, like that initial feeling for me was when I first.
Where are you sitting on your score for it right now, Nib? And it can change.
Probably. Basically, I'm there. I can complete it if I wanted to. I'm just doing all the extra stuff to get ready for Act 3. But I would say probably an 8.5.
That's still quite high.
It's super high. Yeah, high. I mean, the thing is, like, if obviously, like, it's creators' intent. I don't want to mess with their intention of the design. At the end of the day, they're the developers. They make the game they want to make. But I feel like with certain tweaks to the game, it could actually easily be 10. Yeah, there's a 10 in here. There's a 1000% there's a 10 in here because from the mechanics to the quirkiness to the weird, like, the characters, the NPCs, the mood, the unbelievable gameplay. Like it's so refined and polished, but it's just marred with these kind of like frustrating aspects and annoying run back. And I don't know, it's like someone said, I read it online where they feel like the developers were so invested in the pro gamer circle around, because that's kind of what made this game, this IP so big, is all these pro players like attempting all these runs and no damage runs. And
I think it's funny to listen. Record. So first of all, no big secret here. Silksong, you can see video of it. It's literally everywhere. But after hearing what Nib said, you said some of this last week, Nib. You've just basically doubled down on it, even with a great score of 8.5. Listening to Kofi, and I can't remember whose review I watched. I watched somebody's review. Could have been Jake Baldino. I can't remember who it was. I watched somebody do a Hell Is Us review, and I gotta say, if I had to pick, which Nib right now between Borderlands and the game that I'm going to be passing on right now that we really haven't talked about is Dying Light. I think it's called The Beast.
Oh, The Beast. Yeah.
I don't want you.
I'm going with Borderlands.
I'm definitely going with Borderlands Dark, but I mean. You know me, I'm a zombie freak. Anything with zombies, I want to play. True. This bothers me.
I want to play Dying Light too, but I'm like, I got Borderlands, dude.
Right, I can't.
Basically, there's too many games, right?
There's too many games, and hell, but my point now, and then I'll throw it out for you guys to discuss. I actually want to hear Death Singer because Death Singer loves his indies as well. I actually think Hell Is Us is more of a game that I would, if you said to me, I have to pick, and I understand one's $20 and one's $50 or $60. That's not the same. But I would probably pick Hell Is Us if let's say we were in a drought right now and there was really nothing for another month. I'm waiting for a big game to come out next month. I would lean more towards Hell Is Us than Silksong, and I know I'm in the minority. I know I'm
no, because I think I would too, and I love Silksong. So
wow, okay.
Yeah.
Kofi, what about you, Kofi? Are you standing behind you? I mean, you're playing one, so people would be like, well, of course Kofi's going to say Hell Is Us. He's playing it.
That's true. That's true. Well, here's the reason why I probably wouldn't do Silksong immediately, even though I don't want to say these games are similar. And I have not played Silksong, full disclosure. I did play a game called Nine Souls. Has anybody heard about this? It's like a Souls-like
Nine Souls,
game.
Yeah,
Nine Souls. It's pretty hard. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm not good, but I was getting kicked in the teeth a couple times. And
as you should have.
okay, good. So somebody has validated.
It's one of those games.
And I like Souls like games like Nine Souls. For anybody who wants like a cool aesthetic that might remind you a little bit of Silksong, look up Nine Souls. I think it's worth it. But because of that being an experience I've had recently, something like Hell Is Us is what I'm looking for now. And again, the mystery of like, why is this happening? Why are we here? What is with this weird town? I love games like that where they don't explain anything. So,
the thing I would say with Silksong, right, what kind of differentiates it from other Metroidvanias and platformers and stuff I've played, whether it's Ori or Celeste or whatever, right? Because they're kind of challenging too, especially Celeste. The thing with I don't want to be sexist or but like men are not known for being great at multitasking. At least that's the kind of stereotype, right? And I'll tell you, that is the biggest negative in this, is like there's so much fucking shit you got to concentrate on at the same time. Like the muscle memory requires you to remember, I'm not even exaggerating, like 7-8 inputs in a single space of 30 seconds. Like, because if you jump, then you've got double jump, then you've got claw line, then you've got hover, then you've got fucking pogo off the spike, and then there's just so many things. So you're kind of combining, and you do eventually become second nature. But like that's how I feel it differs from these other those kind of games, because they don't have that kind of mechanical depth and like combining of so many different things in a single instance. In fact, like Celeste, when I look back, even though it was challenging, it's still only mostly I've just got to worry about attacking and jumping, really. That's it. Here I've got to worry about 50 million different things. So that's kind of what differentiates the maybe the complexity of it and why more people are struggling, is because it's that multitasking. But I did have a question for the panel about
One second. My nephew literally beat that game within like 2 days. Like
which game? Silksong. What the fuck?
In the world?
I'm telling you, this kid loves Hollow Knight. So like he literally
Sure.
went through the entire game in 2 days.
Overnighted it. Yeah.
I think is his name Neo, by the way.
No.
Dude, just
So
part of the
wait, so
Matrix, isn't it?
before Nib, before you ask the question, I have a question for you. I believe you own a Portal, correct?
Yeah, correct. Yeah,
Have you tried Silksong on the Portal?
I have not, and I'm not even gonna.
Oh
I got mine
man.
on Switch too.
I am
Oh,
not.
that's
his
where I'm
life
playing Silksong.
decision.
Okay, that's fair actually, Dark. You know,
I have. It's perfect. It's perfect.
is it good, Jay? Because I was
Okay.
gonna say,
It runs
It
great
is.
on a
It's
handheld.
made for it, man. It's made for it.
well, you say that.
Really,
So
with the input latency?
the reason that's why I'm saying the latency. I wanted to make sure. Now, I played games on the Portal.
I don't notice it.
But
Yeah,
nothing
I don't know
as
this.
precise, Jay, as like Silksong. So if it's great, that's kind of why I was leaning towards either getting it on Switch 2 or I was going to get it on PlayStation because I have the option of the Portal.
Dude, definitely play the game handheld because I don't know what it is, but those kind of games just feel so much more.
They're made
Just-
in those
just
indie type
better.
games like that. Yeah, they
Yeah.
You know, you don't
be
get
honest, I'm sure it's
anything
fine.
by playing it on a 4K TV or anything. You're not getting anything from that. It's really,
Yeah.
you know, you can lay in bed, you can lounge on the couch or whatever and just play it. And the thing about it, you can play it for 10 minutes, turn it off, and go back to it later. It's that type of game.
Yeah, I would say it probably is fine. Maybe it's a good thing because then, obviously, on a big screen, like your peripheral vision, you're having to watch 50 million
Yeah.
things in the corners of the screen. Maybe on a
Yeah.
handheld, it might actually be easier because you can focus in on everything. all
It
at
does
once.
seem like a
I
game
would say-
that I would want to play on a handheld. And I'm not, you
Yeah.
guys know, I like having that convenience, but I would say 9 out of 10 times I'm still going to play it on a monitor or a TV.
So I will say if I can play Battlefield 6 beta 4 and do well, have a positive KD, multiple games in a row, then I'm sure you can do Silksong because I don't think it's going to be as input latency demanding as so you probably would.
So just to clear something up, Eric, the producer, you guys know we have a producer in the chat. Eric, the producer, got a hold of me. He says, Mooch, just so everybody knows, there are 4 showcases, 2 in 2020, 1 in 2021, and 1 in 2023. He says June 2020 was the reveal of the PS5, September 2020 PS5 price, 2021 Kotar tease, 2023 the Concord Fair Games showcase. Well, and I asked him to double check, and he says this is Eric, the producer, by the way, guys. I mean, I don't know. It's hard, if Eric gets it wrong, we'll have to talk about it off show. I mean, shout out to Eric, the producer. It's great stuff. So I do want to say this real quick. I want to go back to Nib. I know this is one of the things, and we won't harp, but I want to have you a little time in the sun here.
I just want to have one question about.
Oh,
it.
go ahead, Nib. Go.
I'm just really curious about one thing. Okay, so I can see the people who have played it are really positive on it, right?
Yes.
But the actual reception to the game critically has been decent. It's been solid, but not exceptional.
Mm-hmm.
And I've read quite a lot of the reviews, and a lot of the negatives around the game are that the exploration past the midpoint of the game starts to get tedious instead of because it's obviously free. It has that free roam kind of aspect without markers and things like that. Initially, that is, the design of it, they say is, curious and you feel excited to explore. But they said by the second half, it's tedium. And then the other thing they complain about is that the story is quite mediocre. Do you agree with those particular complaints? And is it a case that okay.
I don't, and it's different. It's a different type of game where there's no map per se that you can hit a button and see the map. It's the story. It's the talking to people, finding information out. That it's and once you find the information out, then you'll be able to figure out what you're trying to do and stuff like that. And it opens up. Again, it's not a game for everybody. If you don't have a great attention span and you just want to get into the action of something, it's not for you. But if you're into that storytelling, figuring stuff out, and then once it opens up because you've talked to the right person and they know some information that you didn't know previously, you put the puzzle together and it just opens up the whole game. And it's, man, again, it's for me. It's not for everybody else, but it's for me. I'm enjoying it.
So,
Wait, Jay, are you talking about Hell Is Us?
Hell Is Us.
Yes. And
also,
and the action is great. There's a lot of suspense. I mean, it has a bunch of different aspects in this particular game. There, puzzles. You're figuring out. You're looking for certain people because they may have some information that you need, and you stumble across a person that needs help, and you can help them, and they have something that they can give you that will just open up the game even more. The crafting of the weapons and the combat, if it's just, man, it's it's different, right? And I think in the industry that's clouded full of the same type of games, we should be applauding games that go out of the spectrum and try something new.
Yeah, I gotta piggyback on that too. I think the reason why people might criticize I will say this: I am approaching the middle half of the game, so I haven't gotten to the part that you said specifically is tedious. But what I like is, typically when I'm playing games that are third person and have some action and things like this, I'm always looking in the corner of the map and saying, did I go to this corner? Like when I used to play Uncharted games, I'd be like, look, I'm finding all the secret treasures in one run. So I'm going to every corner, I'm looking under every rock, and it draws me too much to looking at a corner of the screen that has a mini map. But now I feel like I'm reading items that I pick up and I go, oh, this family owns this particular item. I think that was this person's name back through the trees over there. And I feel like I interact with the game in a more traditional sense, more with like a sense of wonder, as opposed to, all right, where's marker A? All right, let's go to marker A, beat some guns.
Yeah,
I'm much more engaged.
You are engaged. Now, so I will ask and you both have kind of discussed it, but the combat, like,
Can I say something about the combat that I really like really quick?
Yeah.
For fans of Neo 2, there's a mechanic in Neo 2. Sorry, this is the only other time I can think of it. But like, there's a specific mechanic where like you can regain your stamina if you press R1 at the right time, like to sink your energy back. Hell Is Us has a very similar mechanic where if you land a combo, there's this white ring that goes around your body, and if you hit R1 at the right time, you get back health. Equivalent to like damage that you did. I love that mechanic so much. It just it gives you like this risk where like if I go all out in a combo and I can get away, I can heal myself based on offense. And
there's weapons. There's certain weapons you can apply. You can apply some to it that will allow you to take some of your stamina and shift it to your health. So you can do the whole balance thing. I think that was freaking awesome. I like that, and that's one of my favorite weapons in the games. But
see, that's refreshing to hear, honestly. So shout out to let's see who cited here. Pella Peptide. He says, "Hell Is Us looks like a free to play game." So when I first saw it, I don't mean when it's first revealed.
Graphics. It has great graphics. It's AAA graphics.
No, I think it looks. The more you look at it, I would tell. I never can remember his name. I apologize. Pella. I would say go back and take a look at it again. Look at it. Look at somebody who's doing an in-depth review of it. It definitely has more to it than a free-to-play game. I think the fact that it doesn't have the maps, I don't think it doesn't have a mini map, and it doesn't just tell you where to go. A lot of times, sometimes some of the free-to-play games can have that model where it's like, you figure it out. But the way that you hear Kofi explaining it, it really is interesting that, like, you have to be engaged with the game. You're not just running the marker A or this and that. Like, I love Borderlands for what Borderlands is, but after I take a mission and I decide to track it, you press up on the D-pad and basically it tracks it for you. And you're like, all right, which is fine because there's so many other things to do in Borderlands, not complaining, but wouldn't mind if there's a little bit more exploration on the gamer's part. Wouldn't be that bad. And I welcome that. That's why I said I'm just kind of jonesing for something different these days. And Hell Is Us is something that, sure, it doesn't reinvent the wheel on every category, but it does a decent job of doing something new that a lot of games aren't doing, and that is being engaged, pay attention, know where to go. Putting the part of the puzzle is you solving where you have to go next. I think for some people that may be tedious, that may have also affected sales. That's not something that, I would say the masses are really into. A lot of people who after working a 9, 10, 11, 12-hour shift don't want to come home and, become their own detective. Some people don't dig that. So I do get it. Nib, I'm just going back real quick to our Sony removes. You said you wanted to discuss this, and you had quite the day on X with it. Sony removes the multi-format revenue from their strategic indicators. What did you think, Nib, from that? What did that kind of lead you to believe? Because I know you went back and forth for I don't know how many endless tweets after that.
It was just it wasn't like a big thing. It's just the reason I was going back and forth is because a lot of people were like, oh, they only did that because they're combining everything together. But all three things that they're prioritizing now are very distinct from one another.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, if you are prioritizing hardware PS5 sales, that means you do still view the console as a de facto priority, right? Like PS5 hardware, their ecosystem at the top of the list. And then the other one was MAU, I get it, like active user engagement, with which to extract revenue from those people. And then I can't remember what the third one. Let me have a so the third one was total gameplay hours. Again, like how long people are actually playing the games. So again, you can extract more from them. But a lot of people were saying, oh no, they just multi-platform sales because it's combining with one or the other. I don't personally see that. I think if that was the case, they would have put some other differentiation. Based on how they've changed the 2005 report and what the executives have been saying in the last two conferences, post-financial conferences, to me at least, it seems like they are kind of. It's not like I'm not saying they're going to reject the multi-platform side of things. I'm not saying that at all. It's at the end of the day, extra revenue is extra revenue. But it does seem like they are doubling down on the single player focus and console being the priority. They've literally said like the hardware is the priority. I know also the monthly active users is the priority now, in addition to the hardware. Before, people were trying to make it seem like they were ditching one for the other. And the way people were doing that is because they took a Totoki context. He was talking about hardware Sony group as a whole, including TVs and chipsets and all the rest of it, sensors and stuff like that. And he was saying they're moving more to the engagement side of things with the services, with their anime and all, movies and things like that. So I think people didn't understand that he wasn't in that quote. He wasn't just talking gaming. In fact, he only mentioned gaming once and mentioned the other sectors multiple times. So there's been a bit of confusion. But on the gaming, specifically gaming side of things, I mean, the gaming executives, Nishini and, Herman Holst and stuff, they're reiterating focus on, platform differentiators and so on. So that makes me think that possibly there's some deprioritization on the multi-platform PC side of things. I don't know. Obviously, they released Helldivers 2 on Xbox, which again, going back another year and another 6 months, twice he said it, could be the experimentation side of things. They did say they're going to do some experiment. So it could be that category. But yeah, no, it's an interesting thing because that report came out weirdly almost only a couple of days after I put out a tweet about the multi-platform revenue being a really tiny split of the overall PlayStation revenue. So multi-platform revenue is 2% of their total revenue for the fiscal year. And that 2% includes add-ons as well. So it's not just the multi-platform game sales, it's also any microtransactions and add-ons that they sell to those multi-platform users as well, whether Xbox, actually Xbox, because I held up this too, but on PC. So to me, that was like quite a small number, just 2% of your total revenue despite all those games. And I've got a list as well. Like some people were saying to me, "Oh, it's because they didn't have many releases that fiscal year on PC." And I was like, "Well, that is not the case. Let's go through them." So in fiscal year 2024, which is March 2024 to the end of March 2025, they had Spider-Man 2, which released in January on PC. This Lego Horizon Remastered, Until Dawn Remastered, God of War Ragnarok in September, Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut in May, Horizon Forbidden West was only a few days before the new fiscal year started, so that technically would still count towards the fiscal year. Helldivers 2 was 2 months before the fiscal year started, so technically the sales of that would also be fiscal year, at least a good portion of them, right? So across all those releases, including mega IP, really high-selling games like Ragnarok and Spider-Man 2, Horizon Forbidden West, and Helldivers 2, it's basically like all the key titles, tentpole titles. It's still only 2% of overall revenue and less than 10% of game sales, of first-party game sales, which is quite crazy because, like, for instance, and I get it. People always say, "Oh, there's just one excuse after the other." Oh, there wasn't that many releases. Then when you show them there was loads of releases, then they talk about the time delay and everything else. But some of those games weren't even delayed by Spider-Man 2 came out, I believe, 1 year and 3 months after the PlayStation release. And that was slightly different because they had the leak. They had like a PC build out available from the Insomniac leaks. So maybe they pushed that forward a bit compared to the regular 2 year length. But even that, Spider-Man 2 on PC, 28K concurrent players on Steam. 28K for a game that sold 2.5 million in 24 hours on PS5 and went on to sell 11 million in 6 months, which is significantly faster than the previous game. Ragnarok, again, sold 0.2 times faster than the predecessor on PS5. It ended up being the fastest selling game ever on PlayStation. But then these games are coming out on PC and they're doing like whimpering numbers, like comparatively insignificant, basically.
So let me. And you may have touched on this, Nib, but a lot of things, and Detzinger will say this, attest this sometimes. He'll say basically, well, that's because they came out years later. Does that play a role?
Yeah. But Stellar Blade came out a year after and did better on PC than PlayStation.
Well, that's got to. But that game has an asterisk, though. But go ahead.
But the thing is, you look at the difference, like what you're offering, and this is why the whole idea of lure PC players to the console. PC players are telling you they really don't give a shit about PlayStation exclusives like that. Like, you look at how they're selling, like 28K people wanted Spider-Man concurrent, and sure, you'd get like 1 million sales, 2 million sales. Those people might go out and buy a PS5, but the vast majority of people either already have the console or they just don't care because it's like, I'm too busy playing these other games. Bear in mind, you also have to look at what the fan base likes. Like, if you look at the highest selling single player games, they're all RPGs. All of them are RPGs. So Stellar Blade is an RPG.
Your response is perfect because it actually segues onto my next. Yeah, you're right. So it's one of two things, right? Either the PC base doesn't really care about PlayStation IP like that,
right?
Even IP that on the PlayStation side of things ends up being the biggest selling in PlayStation history. We're talking 30 years of first-party sales, biggest in history. And yet on the PC side, they don't care about it, which would go back to why they might want to prioritize.
Well, to be fair, most of their PCs can't run those games, so that's probably why too.
Okay, so that's another thing. Or the other thing is ex-Gorilla, the current exec. Anyway, or what the executive said is true, and that because of more and more PC gamers having a PS5 as a secondary system, that is the reason we're seeing a sales drop-off. That is the reason why where sequels are selling more on the PS5, they're selling significantly less on the PC, because over time, more and more people on the PC side bought a secondary PS5, and if they wanted to play it, they played it on PS5 instead of waiting for it. So it's one of two things, right?
we also see we see consistently PC gamers play like CS:GO, Dota, World of Warcraft, and stuff like that.
Mhm.
That's where the PC thrive in those spaces, and plus all the free to play games. A lot of them aren't going to spend 60, 70 bucks on port from consoles. It's just not. They're probably not interested in that, or they already bought it on their PS5. So
Yeah.
I think that's just a telltale sign of the numbers.
So
Yeah, 100%. But
Go ahead,
then
Nip.
that ties in why PlayStation might be taking it off the priority list, right? Because again, the
Yeah.
data speaks for itself. We can have an opinion, but the data is showing us that they're making a very small amount in the grand scheme of things. I'm not saying no 600 million. Oh, who's 600 million? Like obviously 600 million is still 600 million, and if there's profit, it's still profit. Profit is profit at the end of the day,
Right.
and companies always want to make more profit. But what I can see why they wouldn't be care as much about that side of profit if it's more and more of a significant number of the total revenue. And keep in mind, Helldivers 2, it did amazing on PC, but it's at the moment it's an extreme outlier. So we can't use Helldivers 2 as like the de facto broad paintbrush. Just that's how all PC games do. Actually, most PC games, PlayStation PC games, are selling really small numbers. And also Helldivers 2 is a live service game, which goes back to that whole thing of like, maybe live service stuff is better day-date, but maybe the rest of it, the appetite just isn't there on PC for those kind of games.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, those are good points and good stats. Honestly, I think at the end of the day, so do you think they are changing their rationale? Will we see longer ports to PC now, or no? That'll still stay 12 to 18 months, and that'll stay the way it is. Or will it get shorter?
I would assume it would stay the same. But like, here's the crazy thing: it could also be they could also just release the games sooner, because they just don't think it would be a threat for people to moving over to PlayStation. Like they just think, okay, people on PC don't even really care about that side of things, and if they want to play those games, they'll just get a bit. I actually don't know. I have no idea what they just
we
say.
don't know.
We don't
they
know.
could go either way. Yeah, they could go either way. They could be like, listen, we tried this for a while. It's just not really worth our time.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna double down.
We'll still,
down,
or Jay, like you said, we tried it. It
console.
wasn't worth the time, and we're still going to do what we said we were going to do. We're just not. The urgency probably isn't there, because if you're going to speed it up, you're going to have costs. Costs are going to enhance, and I think
and live service has to. I mean, it's like a requirement for a live service game. It has to go everywhere, because the game thrives and depends on a large amount of users.
You need people.
It's done. So that's just any live service game has to go everywhere.
You can't kill a game fast enough, Jay, multiplayer space wise, and have people sitting in a dead lobby. That's
exactly. I'll be honest. If I'm waiting more than 30 seconds, I'm twiddling my thumbs. I'm like, all right, well, I'll try back later.
Also,
I will say, like,
PC is the king of the live service platform, because you think about it, like World of Warcraft is only on PC, League is only on PC, but you look at the numbers these guys pull. Like League is 160 million monthly active users.
Right.
Just think about that. That is like more than there are PS5s and Xboxes out there combined.
That's the market for PC. That's why it thrives. The single player stuff, that's not PC's forte. That's why it don't. Again, it's the king of, let's say,
I will say,
everything else is.
Yeah, 100%. I will say, like, in a way, kind of already have seen the prioritization of platform. The reason I say that is because I feel like increasingly ports on are becoming more unreliable. They're either not very polished, or they don't offer significant variation of options, maximizing hardware. They're like they don't have very good performance. Even Horizon Forbidden West and the Zero remake, like they run pretty poor.
Final Fantasy, all of them.
Yeah, so
shitty ports.
Shitty ports, yeah. So it's like, if you really did prioritize that side of the revenue stream, you would ensure these ports were of a certain level, but they're kind of just like banging them out, and they're problematic. They take time to correct and things like that. So yeah, it'll be really interesting. I'm really curious to see. But even the fact that moved multi-platform revenue completely to me signal, between that and the data and the sales and the port quality itself, all of that to me is coming together to say, this has much of a.
So wait, so Blessed Red, he's saying no, he's calling a bluff there. He's saying, Jay, no, you're not right. He says, come on, we got to stop with that. He says single player games sell great on PC.
Some do, yeah.
Oh man,
Blessed.
I'm trying to figure out which ones.
Actually, I can give you a list.
You got a list.
Black Myth Wukong, Cyberpunk, Monster Hunter Wilds. Then you have Elden Ring, Hogwarts
Witcher.
Legacy, Baldur's Gate 3, Witcher, and you also have So those are that's just in the top selling games. So that's a whole bunch of single player games.
But they are all ARPGs. Have RPG elements.
We already established, right? PC started the whole, it started the whole RPG thing, right? So that's the home for it. But all of these other games, I mean, you got to think about it, right? PlayStation. A game comes to PlayStation, it sells 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 million copies, and people say, "Oh, that's not enough. It's a flop." But then these multiplats come to PC, PlayStation, Xbox, whatever, and it sells like 2 million copies, and everybody's like, "Oh my god, great job, good job!"
Yeah,
on a higher install.
Seriously,
the consistency is not there on that, and it's right because Dragon's Dogma 2 sold 2 million, right? And it was a critically acclaimed. Everyone's like, wow, it's amazing. They did unbelievable numbers. And then PlayStation will do, 3 million sales on exclusively PS5. And they're like, man, looks like another letdown.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what?
Like I say, Sony games can sell 3-4 million copies in 3 days, and people call it a flop. Yeah. But then it comes to PC and Xbox, and all it in 7 different platforms, and it sells 2 million copies, and people are like high five, and I just shake my head. I'm like, what the Twilight Zone am I living in?
You go back, Jay. You go back.
Isn't there like 3 billion PCs out there?
Yeah, you go back to your numbers, and you're like, wait a minute.
1 million. Yeah, you sell 1 million copies, and people are like, oh, this is great. It's like, bro, I'm just that's why I retired. That's why I retired from podcasting and all that. It's just I'm done. I'm done.
You're like, I'm exhausted. You're like, I can't argue with someone who's saying 2 is greater than 3.
The game changed.
Yeah, I can't do
exactly.
it.
The game changed. I miss the old days.
But that's why I love the all-time sales, the Sakana all-time sales list, because it showed that not only did Spider-Man outsell 22 out of 23 Call of Duty games, but that God of War and Spider-Man, they outsold, and Miles Morales, they outsold 18 out of 23 Call of Duty.
Yep.
So unless you're going to tell me Call of Duty is a bad-selling game, like it outsold 18 Call of Duty titles on PlayStation. So that is enormous. Think about that. I understand. Like, Call of Duty is annualized. Never stopped it from being one of the best-selling games. Think about how many games those titles outsold. Every major multiplayer, Hogwarts Legacy, Witcher, other Grand Theft Auto games, all the NBA titles, all the sports titles, basically every Cyberpunk, you name it, the biggest multi-platform single-player games, live service games, it outsold the vast majority, thousands of them, right? There's like 5,000 games available. Then you still have, first-party exclusives in the 20. That is significant.
People really don't, it's funny. I don't know if other people say it. If they do, tell me, because I give them credit where credit's due. The streamers do so much advertising for PC. So majority of streamers on Twitch and YouTube are playing on PC, right? So you have a lot of people that are like, oh, I need to get a PC, or people that watch, right?
Well,
and so
that's the best way to stream. Like what?
Well,
but their PCs are dog shit.
Well, you
they're
say
never
that.
The high end.
Death Singer. They're not all. They don't all have. If you go to the big channels, like the big guys, they got 5090s, but not everybody
they're
is
sponsored though. They're sponsored by.
If you watch some of those, I watch a lot of the medium to smaller channels too, and they're not rocking, full-blown ray tracing, this and that, blah blah blah. They don't. So it's like I see Blessed Red with the concurrent players and stuff like that, and it's like that number really does jump up when you have so many people pushing that. They're like, I'm playing on PC. You see those concurrent numbers on Steam, and they can be impressive. Like you saying, I think Blessed Red just said that he's, what was it? It was Split Fiction.
No, I agree with Blessed. I do think single player games do sell well.
Yeah, they do.
One of the examples I gave was in a conversation with someone else, like something like Resident Evil. I think it's nearly 200k concurrent. So they do have an appetite for them, but just certain types of games. Maybe it has more of a legacy on the platform. I don't know. It's hard to say. Like I've asked him in the comments, why does he think PlayStation first-party exclusives, tempo single-player games aren't selling better on? See, I can ask the same to Dessinger. Like, obviously, Dessinger gave his either that they don't really care about those games, which is weird because on the PlayStation they sell, they sell more than best-selling games, and then or because people already bought, they already have PS5s as.
It's not a mystery though, right? You buy the console and you play the first-party games that release, right? Because that's what you gotta play. On PC, there is no you're locked in to this. Like you can go everywhere. And everything is so fragmented in PC. Like, what's stopping someone going to a GOG and playing a game? What's stopping someone going to a Steam? But then if you're playing through EA and you're playing through the EA app, or you purchase it through, like, Steam doesn't tell the whole story, because let's take an Assassin's Creed, right? It's sold on the Ubisoft app. You could get it through the Ubisoft subscription service, but you can also get it through Steam, right? So now you have to total how much did it sell through the Ubisoft app, Uplay launcher, how much did it sell through Steam, but also current numbers don't tell you sales. That just tells you how many people are online at the same time, right? So, but that just shows you
but the
hype
developers will they eventually come out and tell you how many copies of their game sold. So,
well, yeah, it's like when Black Myth Wukong devs came out and they revealed the numbers of what it sold.
Yeah,
but it's like I just
and
think
99% of those were in China, right? So, I mean, if you remove China from the equation,
but Asia is the biggest market for PC gaming, so of course it's gonna, what do you expect then?
Well, here's
this is why Sony is targeting that market. This is why they're doing the China Joy project and then the Middle East and India and Africa. This is why they're targeting that, because they're trying to go and get those PC gamers. They're trying to get some of that market and bring them over. And if they don't come over, then they'll at least try to find a segue to be able to cater to that additional market that previously nobody has really tackled. Microsoft really hasn't, Nintendo really hasn't, and and Sony really hasn't. So
let me ask you this question, because this kind of runs parallel. I'll go to Deathsinger. Deathsinger, I have this as one of the topics here. Battlefield 6 developers confirm console-only crossplay mode. So, I mean, what now? That's interesting, is it not? A game as big as Battlefield 6 is going to be, they're going to give an option for console gamers to play within their own world and not have to deal with the listen, I play a lot of Warzone on PC, and it is there's a lot of nonsense going on. I'll tell you right now, a lot of nonsense.
But it's also like, as the dev came out and said about how cheating's rampant on console now, because obviously the Cronus device.
I don't think he said rampant. I don't know if he said rampant. He said it's I think he said it happens. It's nothing is foolproof, but I don't think he said rampant.
Well, but you would also want that, because you probably don't want to compete with also people. Bear in mind, people will be playing on mouse and keyboard.
Cheaters.
Right?
Yeah, we don't. No,
but even people on mouse and keyboard, it's a factual statement. If you get into a sniper match with a guy on mouse and keyboard, you are dead 10 out of 10 times.
I'm going to be honest, on Battlefield 6, when I turned off crossplay, immediately my KD was way higher. Like it was just way easier. I was like, okay, it's like a different game.
Like, you get all these people who play FPS on mouse and keyboard, they will beam you in the head and you won't stand a chance.
But I also think a lot of it is just cheats though. Because so many times I was getting shot through walls, like, you know, I wouldn't even see an enemy and I'm like, is this shit, bro? Like, what the hell is going on? As soon as I turned it off,
I'll be honest, that'll make you turn the game off and never turn it back on.
And that's why I don't play on
It's really frustrating, and I'm glad the company EA realizes that, and they're like, "Hey, we'll let these console guys play amongst each other, and let the cheaters shoot it out with their special monitors and software that gives them a second head start."
It's interesting though, because
not everyone was like on the Battlefield beta. Not everyone, can't say everyone was cheating, but you could definitely tell who was on.
Nah, 70% of them.
Do you think that's do you think
not even 70%? For starters, this is how I know.
60. Okay, 60.
No,
60, okay,
not even
60.
that. It's probably like 5%.
Yeah.
Because after time you come in, the same people playing Battlefield are the same people who play CS:GO.
Don't we catch all? Don't we catch all of these streamers with their auto cheats and with their cheat software on? That we see it all the time. Like they forget the streamers getting caught. Well, I'm seeing articles all the time. They got caught and it's like, oh shit, the reticle popped, the red reticle popped up, and it's like, oh shit, I forgot to turn it off.
Oh shit.
And everybody in the chat, it's like it happens all the time.
Well, let me ask you guys a question. Do you guys think that this
some people do that.
Do you think this cross-play capability now being limited to the console, does that hurt either party? Does that change things for lobbies for PC, or does that change things for the console gamers where they'll have less people?
Things
for PC. You change it for PC because they get to fight amongst each other while the console gamers get to actually enjoy the game and don't have to worry about the chaos that's going on.
Well, I meant the lobby and the numbers of players. Is that because now if you're separating them, is that going to affect player count in a lot? I'm asking for either side. Or no, everybody will be. There's enough players to go around.
Depends on the game, right?
Well, I'm talking about Battlefield 6.
Nah, not at all.
Yeah, Battlefield 6 is going to sell. The sheer amount of buyers of that game, just the sheer amount of people who are going to buy it, or probably even pre-ordered it already, that's enough to sustain the game.
Also,
that's
Mooch,
enough to make sure it's not,
Yeah, I was going to say, actually, I don't know if you guys have. When I turned off crossplay on PC, hand to God, my matchmaking times were significantly quicker. So it was actually much slower when I had PC crossplay on. It would take like 30 seconds, a minute to get into games. And when I turned crossplay with PC, like maybe like 10, 15 seconds getting into games. So it had the opposite effect. It was better turning off crossplay.
See, I didn't have that effect. I found the game, the matchmaking was normal. But then it's like you could tell who was kind of on controller because, like, if you've seen the way people aim, like Valorant is ridiculously stupid hard to cheat on that because they have this kernel level anti-cheat. It's locked down. Like, it's stupid hard to try and cheat on there. But like the way people split seconds.
Oh, so I see you've tried then.
No, people have tried.
He's like, it's so hard. I was really struggling.
Thing is, though, Riot knew this, and that's why they released Vanguard, which is their proprietary anti-cheat system. When Valorant came out, they released Vanguard to make sure people couldn't cheat. Now, obviously, but it's when you're playing on mouse and keyboard, you know when you're against controller players. Because when I play Fortnite, you know who is on a Switch or who is on a console because their reaction times are slower, their aim is wonky as shit, and you're like, okay, let me just clean you up real quick because a couple of taps to the head because I could just put the mouse on your head and just beam you and there's nothing you can do about it. So, but, I mean, if you want to turn off the crossplay, turn it off. I personally haven't found anything bad about it, like playing Call of Duty Black Ops 6. It's just fun. So, yeah, people do cheat. That is true. But it's not
I'm turning it off. My experience is going to be great.
I'm turning it off. It's it. Jay's done.
100%.
I'm actually keeping it on so I can improve my KD. I need console players.
Oh.
Because having to duke it out with sweaty PC players on mouse and keyboard, I'm good. Give me some console players and let's have a sniping match.
See, even you don't want to play against PC players.
Yeah, because we're both on mouse and keyboard, and then it's just a skill issue. And I don't want to have to come across that, right? So what I want to do is play against the console players, so then it's not really that much of a skill issue.
So let me ask you.
It's just a.
Go ahead, Jay.
I was just gonna say, or it's just a cheating issue with a lot of them.
There is a good amount of it out there for sure.
Clearly, it has to be a big issue for a developer to say, we're going to separate these. We're going to give these guys the option to separate themselves.
Well, they need to separate. I mean, but then again, it is an option. But they realize the option's there for people who don't want to play with PC guys. I understand it. I completely understand it. If you don't want to play with PC guys, that's fine. But obviously, you know.
If it's like a co-op, if I'm on the same team as them, like say a Helldivers 2 or a Destiny, fine, all good. But if it's competitive, forget it, man. Let's just forget it. Like, I don't know what percentage of the gamers cheat. It might be a small percentage, but the thing you got to remember is even if 1 or 2 people are cheating, like a TDM match, that completely changes the dynamics of that particular match, because it's just going to be the one person killing over and again, shooting through whatever, like, and that's enough to fuck up the whole game. So even if it's 1 out of 12, that again, it can have a significant impact. And I will say, yeah, even like from a cursory perspective, when I turned on crossplay, none of those annoying things happened. I felt like I was getting shot through walls or didn't even see the enemy, and like none of that happened. And again, it's only anecdotal, but that for me is enough. It literally went from being slightly frustrating, and I don't really know why this hit detection or why this issue is going on, to okay, it's just a regular player game, and all things I understand are logical. Like it was enough to make that much of a difference. So yeah, 100%. If you're a console gamer, turn off fucking crossplay.
So wait, so Deathsinger, have you?
Also, it's a competitive edge, because it's like Valorant is coming to console. There is no way on earth they will let you play with PC players, because console players will uninstall the game immediately. They won't last 2 seconds in that game. So, of course, they have to separate the fan bases. So you also have to remember the competitive aspect. Mouse and keyboard is superior in aim. That's why they invented aim assist, right? To help controllers. Because if you didn't have aim assist with controller, you would just get bodied 1,000,000 times out of 1,000,000 times guaranteed. So you need a helping hand, because you can't aim as fast as a mouse. So I would turn it off if you're on console and you just want to play with console guys, because I personally like playing with console guys because it's easier to land headshots and stuff, because, you know, instead of playing a peeking game, I can just go bang, 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 and it's done. But yeah, go ahead, Mooch.
No, I was going to say, do you use keyboard and mouse, Deathsinger?
Yes. And the reason is because I want to...
Yeah, but did you teach yourself that? Because you did come from the console place originally, which was controller. Yeah.
But bear in mind, I also learned mouse and keyboard back in the days of Quake Live. Okay. If you remember, like Quake 3 back in the day, Quake Live.
Man, I'll be honest with you. I've tried to play certain games on the PC with keyboard and mouse. Man, I got to tell you, I've never felt like I was doing homework more than that. That was just not.
I just said in the comments, it makes me feel like I'm at the office.
Yeah, it's like you're doing work. It's like you're doing work. It's just not.
Literally, like
you're.
It's like, oh, I'm
you get carpal. You'll get carpal tunnel. You're gonna kill your wrist. I don't know. Everyone's.
It's horrible to me.
Fuck PC.
Dark. Hey, Dark. Tell us how you really feel.
Like literally, I'm slouching on my couch with a controller. I've got my drinks. I've got my, my kids running around and whatever.
Yeah, man,
like, so
I want to put a controller in my hand and look like a freaking slob. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know, man. I can't get into the keyboard and mouse.
I don't want to feel like I'm in a freaking gaming chair all the time and freaking driving.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's
No,
not.
it's
It's not the. It's not the feel. I can't feel. It just doesn't. I don't know. Something about the keyboard mouse. Don't
It
get me wrong.
feels like I'm
everything-
at work
it
trying
does.
to figure out
it
my
does.
freaking day.
And then
That's
they're
what-
like, no, Mooch. What you got to do is you got to get a mouse with like 60 buttons on the side of it. And I'm like,
yeah, like I want to do that. Like I want to spend
man.
$200,
And you don't
$300 on a freaking mouse like that.
I'm like, I can't do
Exactly,
this.
and then now they have mechanical keyboards, and they're so clacky. Like,
Yeah, it's a click.
it's like, come on.
You can hear
Come on,
the person's mouth. You can hear the person's keyboard in the freaking mic when you're playing. Like, get out of here.
To be fair, it's like, obviously it's difficult to learn, but when you master mouse and keyboard, you will understand how much worse you are aiming.
No. I agree. It's more precise. I used to
Listen,
play in a
listen,
professional league, but
I'm never
in
going
Counter-Strike
to
too.
master it.
Like
Ever.
you land shots you never thought you could dream of. Like playing Battlefield 6 with a sniper rifle. Oh, you just snap around the corner and just pop it and just beam someone. And they're in the chat like, oh, cheating. It's like, no, it's just I used a mouse, I clicked on your head and you died. I mean,
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah, it's
nothing.
you know.
Here, kid.
Yeah, because I want to play a game like that. That's fun. That sounds like a lot of fun.
But then again,
Get out of here, Death Stinger, with this
No.
freaking PC crap.
No,
You used to be a console gamer, goddammit,
Yeah, what
and I
happened?
know it.
What happened?
I used to be a PC gamer before I was a console gamer. What do you mean?
Listen here, I know. Back in the day, you used to play on Xbox because guess what? You came into the Xbox chat one time when I was in there, so don't give me none of that. Don't give me that, sir.
Yeah,
These are refugees, man.
actually, no, it's not refugee.
He's a refugee.
Actually, no, it's not, because if you remember back in, like, shout out to Duke Nukem, shout out to Duke 3D, shout out to Command & Conquer when it first released, shout out to RuneScape, shout out to what other games? Shout out to Dial Up. That was the best time ever on PC. But also, but then I went from PC to the original Xbox because I went Sega to Xbox. So, but I've been in the PC space, and that's where my love for RTS games came from, was the PC space. Because Command & Conquer, when it first released, it was this new thing, and I was like, I'm in love. And I never turned back on it. But then...
I think you...
So, go on. Go on.
Go ahead.
You really haven't had that, you know? Like, I mean...
We lost you, Dark.
Yeah, I think he's cutting off. Yeah, I was going to say, like, I think a lot.
It wasn't like we had, huh?
You cut out there for a minute, Dark.
You're cutting off, dude.
No, we're still losing him. Dark, why don't you jump out and jump back in real quick?
I don't think he can hear us.
I don't think you can.
I don't think he can hear us.
No.
He's
Dark,
like,
I'm here.
I don't think you can hear. Dark, you're cutting in and out.
I know. I'll come back and...
Yeah, come back in. So, let me ask you a question here. And I'm changing the subject, but if you guys want to stand on a point, you can. Is Silent Hill F is looking like it's going to be amazing? Like it's getting great reviews. Are you guys? Is this going to be a game you pick up? Or I guess I'm going to. No, Death Singer.
1,000%.
Absolutely.
No,
why would you not pick up Dark? By the way, change it. We're talking about Silent Hill F. Why not Death Singer?
The thing is, I can't, because there's other games coming out, like Trails in the Sky, the remake, Trails in the Sky first remake.
Oh my god!
There's a few other games coming out. I absolutely adore the Trails series. So unfortunately, it's gonna have to go on the back burner, just like Monster Hunter did, just like Assassin's Creed Shadows did. Like I don't even
think you get to Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Like, no, the thing is, I will, because I'll just wait until a Steam sale happens next year, and it's. Like
I didn't say you won't. I didn't say you wouldn't own it, but you're not gonna play it.
I will play it because I did that for Valhalla.
Oh God! You beat Valhalla?
Yeah, and that.
Oh my
is the
God!
fucking worst Assassin's Creed in history.
You should get a medal for that.
Like Origins and Odyssey are fantastic. But Valhalla?
I don't know what I will say this: the combat in Shadows.
Paid you $1 million to finish
the combat in Shadows is better than the others by a landslide, right? Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I still could not bring myself to finish Shadows.
Dude, I didn't even
can't
finish
finish
Shadows
any of
either.
these games.
I am
dude.
so done with Assassin's Creed. I said that. I said
can't-
it after Valhalla, and then
Dude, I literally have only finished like 4 games this year.
Yeah. Oh snap! No, I finished loads of games, but
No.
this is what I don't understand about Death Singer. Right? He will play. He'll play derivative, monotonous, tedious games that are like, but then he won't play single player bangers that don't have the same repetition. Have more
No,
mechanical-
We're talking about a guy who plays Trails games, okay? That's what we're talking
Like,
about.
imagine picking Shadows over like a Ghost of Yote or like a God of War Ragnarok or whatever. Like, it's crazy to me, but it's all right. You do.
No, but then it's like these games don't interest me. But then I'm looking at like Final Fantasy Tactics comes out at the end of the month. That's a must play, right? Because that's a classic, and I would want to go back to it.
What is it about Assassin's Creed that interests you out of curiosity?
yeah.
The only thing
Please.
that interests me on Odyssey was the setting, because I love the Greek setting, and they did really well with a lot of the historical stuff with the Leonidas and all that.
You know,
I'm a fan
God
of
of War. Do you know what the original saying is?
Yeah, I know it's Greek, but also God of War isn't the kind of game that I want to play. God of War 2018 and Ragnarok aren't the kind
What
of
was
games
the
I wanna
difference
play.
here? What is it about Assassin's Creed then?
Assassin's Creed went more RPG-ish. I'm going to say it as it is. You know, it's more of an RPG than it is an Assassin's
You'd be
Creed.
surprised to know the new God of Wars are so.
Yeah, they
a lot
are.
more
Yeah,
RPG.
no,
They are
I
Death
just
Singer.
have no. I just
That
have
is
no
true.
interest. I have no love for the franchise. So why am I going to play it? Like it doesn't
I'm
make like,
just saying these arguments are seeming a bit ropey dopey here.
no, they're not. It's just I like to play what I like to play. It's like if I told someone you enjoy playing like Dying Light the Beast just came out. I gotta play Dying Light the Beast.
I mean, I look at it this way, like it's junk food, right? Like most of these games like that come out that are AAA, like Assassin's Creed and all that stuff, it's just junk food. It's junk food to get
No,
us
I
to
mean
the
I get
next
it. He
big game,
prefers like a
you know?
McDonald's to an independent quality burger. Like that's fine.
No,
like, you know, there's some
I
people who are going to prefer.
Well, I mean, okay, if we're calling this Expedition 33 a McDonald's and we're calling
No, I'm calling Assassin's Creed a McDonald's.
Well, yeah,
Assassin's Creed is
I'm not saying I like Assassin's Creed. I'm saying I'll play it when it's on sale because Assassin's Creed Shadows looked good on paper, but then other games came out and I dropped it. And I was like, well, I'll just come back to it when I come back to it.
But you did buy it though, and you made time for it.
Yeah, but I also bought Ghost of Tsushima and played Ghost of Tsushima. So what's the point? Like, I love the Japanese aesthetic, but I could wait on that. Like that's not a priority. Like it's not like I dismissed Ghost of Tsushima. I was like, hey, it's Japanese. I love the setting. This is my kind of vibe. Let's go for it. And it was a good game. I mean, it is what it is. But of course, how can I play another game now when I got Dying Light, which just released today, and then you have Final Fantasy Tactics, but then you have Ghost of Yoti drops, but then you have other games coming out in that month. So Battlefield 6. So I will prioritize what I want to play, and that's
So you're going to play the new Dying Light?
Of course, Dying Light.
Nice.
Yeah, I love Dying Light. The Dying Light is fantastic.
It is very good.
The thing is, I understand how some people do
And they
get
brought
motion
back guns
sick,
too.
Oh, they did?
I understand
Nice.
how some people get motion sick with Dying Light though, because some of that is the parkour and is a bit. Oof,
yeah, it is the parkour. Don't get me wrong. I understand that they implemented that and it's a success. So I'm not going to sit here and critique it. But the amount of parkour in Dying Light, they could have probably reduced that just a little bit.
They probably could have, but
it's
part of the charm of the game, and I understand it. But obviously, you know,
I will say that Dying Light doing what it did really kind of took a little bit of the shine off of that. Dead Island 2, I really enjoyed. But Dead Island 2 was, you know, after playing Dying Light, Dead Island 2 felt like, I hate when people say this, but I'll say it felt like a last generation game. You know what I mean? It was like, didn't look like, I'm not saying it looked
cartoony.
bad. Yeah, it was a little too cartoony. Yeah. Like I was like, you gotta kind of, the Dying Light folks took the formula and then they enhanced the shit out of it. I mean, it is beautiful.
Yeah. They made it more gritty and dark and everything.
Exactly.
But that's the reason I can't even play Chronos because I'm too busy currently with Silksong. Then I got Dying Light, So I got games I want to play, and then if
How
there's a
far into
downtime,
Silksong are you?
I don't know, like 6 hours or whatever.
Oh
I
shit!
paused-
Okay, so
I paused it because FC 26 dropped today, so I'm currently on that. Checking out the new
FC as in football.
FIFA. Yeah.
You play FIFA? Oh god, he loves McDonald's and Burger King. What
Don't we
man,
all?
I mean,
There's definitely probably a game that you like, Nib. That's a McDonald's.
No, there is.
Also, ask Mooch about his McDonald's, which is Call of Duty.
It is.
Or
It
how about
definitely is.
Yeah, we all have it. We all have it.
about
But I
NBA?
love.
I'm trying-
I'm gonna
I'm
be
sorry.
honest. I love McDonald's, bro.
Well,
I love the egg.
I'll change to Chick-fil-A when I get Battlefield 6, I guess. Is that true? Or?
Yeah, exactly. But I will say it's
I don't
one thing,
know if
like
that's Chick-fil-A or not.
Yeah, I don't know either. That's a good point.
I like Popeyes. We don't have Chick-fil-A here, but Popeyes is decent. But I will say, like, now I've had like Caribbean fried chicken. Like, there's this. I might have said it before, but there's this like auntie who has a ghost kitchen near me. Ghost kitchen is like where you don't have a restaurant; you just cook straight from your kitchen, and it's on Deliveroo. And she makes like Caribbean fried chicken. And once you've had that, like, you can't go back to regular fried chicken. It's like a different stratosphere of flavor and freshness because she's literally making it to order with all the like Cajun spices. It's just insane. But anyway, going on, like, I will say, like, on this whole conversation, like Ubisoft, you always hear like people out like, oh, PlayStation Ubisoft template. And when people say that, like, about like a God of War, or, whatever, like a Ghost of Tsushima or Last of Us or Uncharted or whatever, like, I always think like these people make it complaints like that do not fundamentally understand game design. And of course they think that reviews and critics and stuff are just paid off conspiracies because they have a understanding of what makes things quality and not. And I always say, like, the thing that really differentiates something like a God of War or a Red Dead Redemption or whatever from like a Ubisoft mold is the quality of the side content and the stories and the side content. Even Witcher 3, right? It had amazing, Baron's quests and things like that. That's the thing with like a God of War Ragnarok. A side quest in God of War Ragnarok, say, like, where there's that giant whale, and the whale is like a platforming section on its own. Free the whale with the chains, and this whole bloody insane set piece mode. So many mechanics and puzzles and everything, part of something that's optional.
I think more games need to do that, Nib, like what you're describing there with God of War and also Witcher 3. Like, I think the reason, and that's what kind of, and maybe it's a reason that I take a lot longer to play games, is I like Borderlands, for example, or any of the games you just mentioned. I 100%ed the hell out of all the God of Wars. I'm doing every side quest. My point being with that is that, like, if the developers across the gaming industry don't all make side quests that intense and that in depth, then a lot of people that I know, even in the community, they play games like, yeah, I beat this game. And I'm like, oh, wow. I'm like, you beat that game already? I'm like, holy shit. I'm only like maybe like 25, 35% through. They're like, well, I didn't do any of the side missions. I'm like, well, then, but that's like if you went to a restaurant and you didn't eat any of the, you didn't have any of this, nothing on the side. Like, you ordered this amazing steak. You didn't get the lobster mashed potatoes. You didn't get anything. You had nothing on the side. You got no asparagus. You got nothing with your steak. What do you like? That's part of the experience. I feel like
I would say with those kind of high quality games that have critical reception that they do, I would say their side content is oftentimes significantly better than the main content in other games. Like, even in Red Dead 2, just the emergent gameplay of the, I can go out and I'm just exploring, and then I see like a Ku Klux Klan friggin' meeting, and whatever, and then I go and set them on fire, and it's just a random thing, but like that entire thing is like telling the main quests in other games.
Yeah, Red Dead Redemption and GTA take some of their side missions. Some of them serious, and that's what makes you want to play. It makes you want to get more immersed into the story.
Yeah, whereas with like Shadows, with AC Shadows, for example, that is why I think none of us completed it. Like, it becomes so monotonous, like doing the same thing with only a little bit of a different flavor. Like, go and kill this guy, go and do this, go and do that, and go and collect this item, climb to the top of this thing, and it's over iterative, and whereas like with it's too much. Whereas in like the God of War, then the next side quest would be like freeing dragons and stuff, and then the next optional side quest will be like these giant jellyfish that I free into the world, and it's like, come on, like look at the difference here. In one thing, the entire mechanic, story, world, everything is unique to that side quest. There's all this optional shit, entire different biome, entire different puzzles and story and characters and mechanics, all is unique to this side quest. And then in the other game, I'm just doing the same thing over and over again. So it's not like these PlayStation games and even the high quality games, third parties, they do not use the Ubisoft. Stop fusing the two. Just having RPG elements, Ubisoft, it's a very specific iterative.
Well, let me do this. I'm going to say this, and Nib's going to get upset because Nib's going to go into marathon. Death Singer, I'll let you finish, but I do want to wrap up the show soon. It's 3 hours and 15 minutes. Dark Optimus hasn't even eaten dinner yet. He's over there on the West Coast, and we're talking about Popeyes. He's like, I got to get out of here.
It's 7 o'clock. It's dinner time.
It's dinner time, man. So, Death Singer, finish your point. I am probably going to... I'm actually, believe it or not, I didn't eat a lot. I'm starving too. And you guys are talking about like chicken. I'm like, I gotta go eat. But that's it. You're going to finish your point. My apologies. I didn't mean to take my.
But it's like side quests as well. I love RPGs because if you look at RPGs, like sure, a lot of games take RPG elements, but it's like there's so much side content in so many of these games, and like take Pillars for example. It's like the side quest is like, oh, there's an interesting story over here, and you have to go out and find them. Like they don't generally tell you there's a side quest. Like for example, in Pillars, they don't tell you. You just have to go around and start chatting to people. You have to be social. That's the novel concept, right? Go around and start talking to people and see who's got to say what, and you're like, oh, okay, cool, you got a side quest, lovely. But I mean, that's why Assassin's Creed is like. That's always a sale. Like, sure, Odyssey and Origins, Valhalla absolutely hated, managed to finish it, but that's because I was like, well, I got nothing better to do at this time, so I'll just finish the game.
God bless.
What's your favorite AC out of curiosity, Destiny?
Black Flag.
Yeah, same. Oh my god, we agree.
Hands down, Black Flag is the pinnacle of. That's why I'm excited about this remake or remaster that's supposed to be coming around for Black Flag. And they're like,
serious?
Oh, we did, yeah.
Well, there was wasn't there also a rumor though, Death Singer, that was not, I don't want to use the word canceled, but may not be happening as soon as we thought, or no?
No, it's we had the new information. It's got pushed back a bit because they reckon the release window is currently targeted for 2026. Although some people think it could slip to late 2026.
Okay, so I saw something where it could slip, or it wasn't canceled, but it was definitely pushed back.
Because it's not going to be a big budget remake like Resident Evil 2 or Silent Hill 2.
Right.
But it's going to be a reimagining with updates. So, it's like there's more activities, more side content, a lot of the cut content. The combat is being redone. So obviously the combat in Black Flag wasn't exactly the best. Everyone can admit that. They're doing that, redoing like some of the loot and stuff. So they're calling it a remake, but it's more like a glow up for Black Flag. But that's what you need to do because Black Flag is already a fantastic game. Like the story's fantastic.
I think everyone would agree that it's definitely the fan favorite.
All they needed to do was update the combat a bit, and that's what they've done.
Well,
give it a bit of polish.
Like you would say, Deathsinger, I will wait to see it before we say that. But yes, I will.
Well, I mean, it's
that's
Ubisoft. So it's Ubisoft, so we have to wait and see. But
shout out to the great Jez7780. Never go full Ubisoft. That's all we can ever say. You never know. You never know what you're going to get with Ubisoft. You know what I mean?
Thunder, you don't go full retard.
Never go full Ubisoft. It's the greatest rule of thumb I've ever heard in gaming. Shout out to Brian East. He says, speaking of chicken, Popeyes has, this is interesting. Popeyes has a new promo they're doing with Hot Ones, and I'm not sure if I'm sure Nib and Detzinger have known, but Hot Ones is a big time show over here where he has celebrities on and they go through the entire
I like it's a great show.
right. So it says Hot Ones is flavored chicken options, including the hottest sauce. Now that Brian, I have to actually go and check that out because first of all, I love heat. I love heat and food, so bring it on. But the hottest one that they have isn't it like 2 million Scoville, or am I way off? Maybe it's not even.
No, you're right. Yeah,
right.
2 million Scoville.
There's no way you could douse an entire chicken breast and eat.
No way, you'd
that.
die.
I think you would pass out. Like you'd have to have medical staff on hand. But hey, listen, I'm not saying somebody won't do it for their YouTube channel. Someone probably will, but not me. But I would definitely try maybe a couple of temperatures a little lower than that. But shout out to Brian East for that. I appreciate it. Guys, I am going to say...
The last episode of Hot Ones was actually really interesting.
Which one was that?
It's I think the third interview with Kiki Palmer. But he said like a few months back, I think it was like 6 months back, that someone asked him on Chicken Shop Date, have you ever fancied or had a crush on any of the people you interviewed? And he was like, yeah, I have. And she was like, well, go on then, tell me who. And he was like, I shouldn't really say. And she goes, say. And he said, Kiki Palmer. So he was interviewing and obviously she's not with her guy. So it was, I thought the dynamic interview was interesting because she knows he fancies her. Obviously he fancies her.
I never watched those in like chronological order. So I just watch them whenever they pop up on my feed. So I don't know. I mean, you could tell the context. If I'm watching something and someone's talking about a movie that's 3 years old, they're promoting, of course I know it's older.
Okay.
But if it's like somebody new that I haven't seen, now I know.
If you watch the new interview, see if you feel like there's any dynamic difference because you know they both, one the other.
Right. No, I will take that into context. You guys are awesome. Nib, I know you can go. Nib should be known as Marathon 95 on Twitter. But I feel bad because Nib came in like an hour and a half in. So like he's like, no, we got 3 hours left, Mooch. Let's go. Shout out to Nib, buddy. I appreciate you. Nib, you go around the clock, so I appreciate you stopping by. He goes, Mooch, if you're still doing the show, I'll jump on. I'm like, yeah, come on. You said that an hour and a half in. I'm like, we easily have another hour and a half, easily. But no, Nib, thank you for being here, buddy. Let people know where they can find you. Outstanding show, and I know it was late, but we'll get you for the full 3 or 4 hours next week.
Yeah, all good. Yeah, it's just XNIB95_.
Nib, you're the best. Thank you so much. The great Dark Optimus. Dark, buddy, I got to tell you, I can't tell you how much I enjoyed you being on the show tonight, and it means a lot to me. I know you have a busy schedule, but I hope we can get you back on sooner than a year and a half from now, because it was a treat having you on, bro. Oh, Dark, you
told you all over again, huh?
Wait, say it again, Dark. You cut out. We have to do. Dark might have to write me his outro, and I'll read it.
Stupid internet, man! I swear.
Sorry, say it again. Say it again.
I said it's nostalgia, right?
It is, baby. It's a hell of a drug, buddy. Great to have the great Dark Optimus. Dark, honestly, you have the greatest past too, so it's so much fun to have you on, buddy.
I know, dude.
And having us be, great friends and gamers at the same time, buddy. It's just outstanding. Do me a favor, will you? Just let me know when you have a Thursday off and you can join us anytime. You don't have to wait for me to ask, all right?
Yeah, for sure, dude.
Appreciate it. Dark, let people know where they can find you. I don't care. Let them follow you on X. Wait, cut out again.
Yeah, my freaking internet's being a bitch right now.
That's all right, buddy. I'll promote you. I'll do it at the end.
Thanks,
I'm going to pull it up right now. I got you, buddy. The great Kofi was with us. Now, Kofi, you were like, Mooch, I'm going to be a little bit late. It was about an hour. Not too bad, Kofi. But we want to get Kofi. I really want to get Kofi for like the first 2 hours always. That's when the energy is just electric. Kofi, thank you for joining us, buddy. I love that you play games that a lot of people that I have on the show don't always run to, and they don't know. And then you also have that unbelievable talent that you can speak 2, maybe 3 languages now, and you bring that whole like kind of presence of Japanese games and the not just the background of the games, but kind of from the development standpoint that you read into, and you actually play every game in the Japanese language with, I don't even think you use English subtitles. But just the way you game and you bring a complete diverse look into the gaming market, I absolutely love it. Kofi, let people know where they can find you. Thanks for being here tonight. Oh no, Kofi's microphone cut out.
Discord is going
I'm gonna have to do all.
AY today.
Well, listen, it's a good thing I can do outros and I can do intros like a professional. We'll see if we can keep doing it. Let's see here. So, shout out to Fahim Scott. He says maybe Dark Optimus will send Mooch some smoke signals. I don't know. Shout out to Lorgalia. Appreciate that follow, buddy. Thank you so much. Well, I'll go to Death Singer. Death Singer, as always, you never disappoint. You got the crowd all sorts of rowdy tonight, as usual. Let people know we can find you, Death Singer, and I'm sure you will manage to get some people rowdy and upset next week. Now watch Death Singer not unmute his mic. Watch.
What do you mean? Yeah.
There it is. There we go. I'm like, I can't go 3 for 3 on that.
No. It was Critical Role went live for one of their D&D
Oh, okay.
shows.
Gotcha.
So I was just quickly checking it, booting it up, ready to watch it. But yeah, you can find me, usual places, mainly playing my RPGs because that's my number one genre. And if PlayStation actually started making some, I'd probably play them.
Oh,
They're stuck in their roots. So, I mean, it is what it is at this point. So yeah, I mean, go tweet at PlayStation and tell them to start making some good RPGs.
yeah. Tell them Death Singer sent you. By the way, that'll help. That'll speed things up.
See, that is how PlayStation gets me, but they won't do it for whatever reason.
Well, when they do come out with that game, we are going to hound you, Death Singer. So I appreciate you being here, buddy. Great to have you. The great J-Dub City had a bounce. That's at J-Dub City 16. Go over and follow him on X. Always a great follow over there. The great Brap was with us too. Basement Radio Arcade Podcast. Had a great show last night, Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Shout out to Brap, a.k.a. Coach. Guys, thanks again to everybody in the Super Chats. Bespoke explanation point. Great. Thank you so much. Brian East, thank you. 8K Duel says, thank you for becoming a member of the channel. It means the world to me. You guys are all fantastic. Moonshot. Do me a favor, guys. Go out there. Play some video games. Hit a like button on the way out. There's still 150 here. That's 150 likes. That counts. That really counts. It means a lot. We got a great panel here. These guys are fantastic. And also, wait, I promised Dark. I'm going to get Dark in there, too. That's at Dark Optimus. DARKOTTEMIS. Go follow him over on X as well. You guys are all fantastic. We'll see you next Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern, and probably on Twitch this weekend with some Borderlands. Hope to see you guys there, too. Peace out. Good night.
Thanks, everyone.